morning. Depends on where you are on this great globe of ours. We welcome you to the primetime kings of live stream with your tower of power himself, 24/7 Fusion Media. We have the ever mysterious Vigilante Williamson. Cruising in his hot rod from the Hollywood Nights, we have New Bomb Turk himself. And me, your humble announcer, Baron Orban Tag. So sit back, we're going to chill today, have a little bit of fun, and enjoy the primetime kings of live stream.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you at. It's your host, 24/7 here with my co-hosts, Baron Orman Tag, New Bomb Turk. Hopefully, we'll see Vigilante Williamson here soon. And as always, it's your boy, 24/7 Fusion Media. And we are the Prime Time Kings. Hopefully, you guys have been doing well. I know we haven't been on in the last 2-3 weeks. There's been different things. I know I've had, family over, Father's Day, other things here and there. And it's just good to be here and be back with the fellas. So just thankful and just wanted to express my gratitude to everybody out there. Hopefully you guys are doing well as, also. And like to give a shout out to my co-hosts, Baron Orman Tag, New Bomb Turk, Vigilante Williamson. Love you guys. Hopefully you guys have been doing well, and like to know how y'all doing. What's going on, Baron? How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing pretty okay. A little achy today. I will warn you, I did take one of my good pain pills, so you never know where I'm going to go today. But other than that, I'm doing fine. A little rainy out here. We need to have that, so. More than happy to see the drip, drip, drip.
No. Just as long as you don't stop in the middle of a sentence and go, squirrel, you're fine.
I would never do that, squirrel. I would never do that.
Oh, man.
I got dogs for that.
Right?
Particularly my dachshund. She hates squirrels. She hates them. But she loves running them up the trees. She'll tree a squirrel, then come back all prancy. Look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I did. It's like, okay, thank you, Duchess. We're safe from that squirrel.
Right. Hey,
you...
I'm busy. Just work is, work. Can't really say much good or bad. It just is.
Yeah, work is work. Yeah.
But
best way to describe it.
I think we all are in agreement that Flash sucked. We can probably say that now, right? It's clear. It's been out a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of what people are saying, and I also heard what Kevin Smith is saying. That dumb shit.
I don't listen. Like, I haven't even seen anything from him in probably 2 years.
Well, I found it by accident, but he was sitting back saying that it was with articles, for other shows that I was on, came across it, and they're sitting back saying we would have the Batman Beyond if the Flash would have done better.
Oh, bullshit.
Exactly.
The reason Batman Beyond isn't happening is because James Gunn is going a different direction.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, they've been farting around with that idea for about 10 years or so, I think, at the studios. And now James Gunn comes in. He don't care.
No.
I'd love to see it.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. I don't know. I mean, when you get to the point where, like, if you look at Keaton.
Yeah.
Like, his performance in this, and I don't know if it was just how it was edited because its pacing is really fucked up.
Okay.
It's weird. Like I know they had a specific pacing to it originally,
Right.
and then when James Gunn came in, they went back, did some reshoots, did some heavy editing to get it to where he wanted it to end. And I think part of it is even though they never said outright that they were going to replace Ezra Miller. You know that had to be in their mind at some point. Like we got to get rid of this dude. He is just straight up bad press. And so he came in and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not dealing with Ezra. Like I will not stand for that shit." And re-edited the movie so it didn't show the possibility of him being back in the regular or main or Earth One universe.
Right. That's it's funny you say that. Didn't mean to cut you off. I was just thinking about
that's
what
fine.
you said. It's funny from the time that movie's been in development.
God, 4 or 5
Damn,
years.
for like
Yeah.
7, 8 years or so,
Yeah.
longer than that, because they announced it back in like 2014.
Right.
So-
But yeah, I mean, if you go from writing script to release in the theater, yeah, I would say it's probably that long.
Right.
And they were always toying with the idea.
Oh, plus it was also sitting around for the longest time. It could have been released a lot sooner, but for whatever reason they didn't. And then, of course, all the stuff hit the fan. Then James Gunn came in, which was another thing hitting the fan. It's no wonder why, like you're saying, the pacing and editing is all off.
It definitely seems like an editing thing, like not necessarily a writing thing. Because I mean, they had a story that they were literally pulling from, so it wasn't like if you read the Flashpoint in the comics, that's not a disjointed story. That's pretty straightforward.
Right.
Right.
So, it's like even if they were editing a bit, to separate from the comic slightly with what they currently had in the DCEU, they still would have had a more well-paced story. It definitely was because of editing and whatnot. You could tell because a lot of the scenes with Keaton fall flat, and I'd hate to think that Keaton was phoning it in, but it almost seemed that way. Like, pardon me. Like his scenes were like, I don't know, either poorly directed or what. I don't know. Because like the whole "I'm Batman" thing just almost came in as forced. Like, like we get it. He's gonna say the thing. All right, fine. And the "let's get nuts" part, like, okay.
Well, right. Well, I don't know if you guys have heard, but I would say in the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, this movie has went through 3 separate regimes, kind of.
Right, yeah.
Like basically when the movie was being made, Hamada and them were the ones that were in control. Then basically David Zaslav and Discovery bought out Warner Brothers, and they changed some things from what Hamada and them have done to where like David Zaslav comes in and he's like, hey, we're gonna have Henry Cavill back, put him in the Black Adam movie. He was dealing with The Rock and the whole shit. So they ended up like doing reshoots, bringing in Cavill, doing all kind of things, and then David Zaslav turns around and decides to appoint James Gunn and Peter Safran to run DC Studios, and then they fuck around and put their own little niche changes to it themselves, which alters the movie even more than what Hamada did and what David Vaslov did on his own. They ended up changing it some more when they stepped in. So basically, this thing has kind of, went through 3 different kind of changes in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion to get it to what's seen on the big screen.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So basically, they added some things, they pulled some things, and shit, man, we got what we got, man, and
it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate because and I mentioned this backstage, and I didn't realize how hotly contested the story of Flashpoint is. Somebody had put out, what's your most controversial movie take, or not movie take, comic book take, and one person put Flashpoint sucks, and it was just like this whole tirade of back and forth, like, nah, it's one of the best stories, nah, fuck you, it sucks. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I never realized that. I actually like the story, even though I don't like what it's connected to.
Right, exactly.
Right, and I think that's part of why people don't like it, because it ushered in the New 52. And a lot of people didn't necessarily like that. Man. So it gets shit on. And even though I thought it was a great story, the concept of it is good. And the way it lays out, it's like, oh, I never thought of Thomas Wayne as Batman and his wife becoming the Joker because Bruce died, and all this, like, just the Batman stuff alone in that, which is only a part of it, is so crazy. And then you get into the Aquaman and
Wonder Woman
and Wonder Woman, and that's even more off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a really well told story, and I'm surprised that so many people dismiss it. And again, I mean, I kind of understand, because it is attached to something that a lot of people don't like.
Right. It's
exactly.
And I agree with you. I mean, Flashpoint was a damn good story, the thing is, it was what it led into that gets people, let's say, I don't know if anybody read Rebirth. You ever read Rebirth?
Not Rebirth specifically, but I've read stuff within the Rebirth.
Well, I mean, Rebirth was actually a very well accepted storyline, because of course it's another reset of the universe, and that was very well received. And if let's say if Flashpoint would have turned, stepped into, instead of it going into the New 52, it would have went into Rebirth.
It would have been.
Then people would have been more. Yeah. People would have been like, "Oh shit, Flashpoint was good because after that we got Rebirth."
Right.
But just because it was the New 52, and and I'm gonna tell you something, the New 52 did bring in about a handful of good things.
Right.
But then that's a handful of good things compared to what they had, like maybe 40, 50 titles back then. So it's like, you had, of course, the Green Lantern did well. Mm-hmm. Aquaman did well. Justice League did well because they had the Dark Side Wars and all that. The Green Lantern was good because of they introduced the rainbow the red lanterns, the orange lanterns, the blue, the white. Ethan Van Sciver, Jeff Johns killed. They did that. Boy, that shit was still a masterpiece, man. And then of course, then they had the Sinestro. Right, exactly. Then you had the Sinestro Core Wars. And you had, dude, there was a lot of good shit that, there was, again, a good handful of things that were good, but then it was everything else that was very bad.
Right. Yeah, and that was the other thing. I know, now I don't know, I haven't heard as much because Flashpoint seems to be the kickoff point for the New 52, so
right, exactly
focuses on that. But yeah, that was another story I liked. The whole Darkest Night, Brightest Day
Oh yeah,
storyline. That had a ton of side stuff you had to read to keep
right.
up with everything.
Hmm.
That. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that when the Black Lanterns tried to
Well,
uh
yeah, they tried to effectively wipe everybody out. Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That was actually another good one as well. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on. Yeah.
Right. The
Wow.
only odd thing about that whole storyline when it comes to like Batman was supposedly dead already. So like the representation of the Black Lantern Batman was like really off, and then everybody realized it wasn't actually Batman. So they were like, now I know why he's being very, because like each Black Lantern when they came back, they were effectively like their personality, but in reverse. Like it was really weird, but they would remember very specific points in time, and they knew who people were. Whereas when Batman came back, he was just kind of nondescript and just being, Batman, but evil. And like all of the Bat family were just like, "What's wrong with him?"
Right.
Hmm.
Then they realized it, like the body that was in Batman's grave wasn't Batman. So that like kicked off this whole like how did Batman survive, and they had to explain that in a side issue, and it was like what the fuck. It got really weird.
Yeah, when you have to start doing these side issue stuff, it starts like you kind of lost the point.
Well, I mean it's okay like when you want to, if you're doing a a comic wide event within DC, and you
Hmm.
want to touch on all these other teams and side characters, and you want to like flesh out their stuff a little bit more outside of the Prime series, you can do so.
Yeah.
But they did so to like the nth degree. Like every single possible group or individual, Dead Man. Like you had like B and C
Hmm.
list characters getting issues about it, and it was like, whoa, slow down.
Yeah.
Like it because they mentioned one thing in it, and it would carry back into the storyline. And if you didn't read it, you were kind of like, wait, what happened? What did I miss?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I mean, I remember like Crisis on Infinite Earths and all those, invade. What was the invasion one? I mean, all across the. How many issues? I had to get this issue, this issue. Well, I don't collect this issue, but I'm going to have to get this issue. No, that
Right,
that particular issue, but I have to get that, so I have the whole storyline.
right. And when I did that, I had to literally get a guide and a list of every single issue, like issue number, what the run was, like which
Hmm.
person or team it was for, and like and literally go and search out every single issue. And then by the time I was done, I had like what did I end up with?
You,
Something like 60 some comics
Hmm.
you,
at the
you,
end
you
of it
mean
all.
like it's funny because like for Crisis was Crisis on Infinite Earths was 12 issues, and
Right.
and it involved every title that DC had going at the
Hmm.
moment. It didn't matter if the title like for instance Sergeant Rock was a part of Crisis, so it didn't matter if
Yeah.
you're in World War II, if you were on if you were in another time period. It's like basically anything that was in existence at DC got affected all at the same time. So basically you'd have somebody like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Warlord. He's
Yeah.
like damn near like Conan of DC. He was a dude with
Hmm.
like a
Right.
white mustache, white goatee, but he had like a helmet like Thor with wings that
Yep.
was silver, and he had
Right.
like a he was a white dude, and he had like a white furry trunks or
Hmm.
whatever, and he was a badass. And I used to have this action figure when I was a little kid, but his name was
Oh.
Warlord. And and it's funny because a title like his, when it came to Christ on Infinite Earths, his shit got affected. And then
Right,
of course, Sergeant Rock, he's running around through World War II, his shit gets affected. And then it doesn't matter if you were like a person that was in space, like let's say like the Omega Men, or some like Green Lantern, he's out in space,
Right.
every title, no matter where you were at, what time period you were in, or anything, if you were a part of the DC universe at that time, your title was being affected. And not only for one issue, it went on for a few issues.
Yep.
And that was for every title. But the whole thing to it is, if you were a person that you enjoyed Jonah Hex, or you enjoyed Batman, and at the time of Crisis, he was with Jason Todd, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And so he's with Jason Todd dealing with the whole Christ on Infinite Earths, while Jason Todd was Robin. And at that time, Dick Grayson had already became Nightwing.
Right.
So it's like, they're sitting there dealing with, so basically if you had a character that you enjoyed, your character was going to go through the crisis whether you liked it or not. It wasn't
Right.
like a limited series that it only dealt with a handful of heroes. It dealt with everybody in the whole DC universe, and even people that didn't even have their own titles. There were like characters that haven't had their own titles in a decade or two, or in years, that
Right.
all of a sudden they were just in they were entrapped in this whole fucking catastrophe. And it's like shit, they just had to deal with it. And a lot of characters got killed. There was I give an example. There was a character that I really enjoyed called Amethyst, the Princess of Gem World.
Mm-hmm.
And she was basically like her thing, she was like, it's like basically she had like an amethyst colored amulet that basically she would go into, and she was basically, she was like connected to it, and she was called Amethyst. She was the world was called Gem World. And of course it was like they had good guys and bad guys, wizards and all kinds of shit. And it was actually a pretty popular comic book. But during the crisis, she ended up showing up on present day Earth. Like she basically came out of Gem World, with powered. And it's like it's basically she's a teenage girl that basically she goes into the she goes into the amulet, and then she becomes a princess. So she's only a princess in the amulet, but in the real world she's just her regular self. And she ended up pulling her princess self out of the amulet into the real world, which is what she did for the first time. Like she can be a hero in today's world, and she got killed. And it was like, so there was like a lot of and again, she got killed along with like Earth 2 Robin, which is the original Robin,
right,
of DC Comics.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the downfall of some of these series, like what we were saying with when you start to do these side titles and stuff like that as tie-ins. Sometimes a side title might be on its own run and have its own story going on, and then suddenly it just shifts gears into whatever primary thing is going on. And it, talking about disjointed stories, it like you'll have a run of comics, and it'll say deal with Justice Society,
Right.
and then suddenly it just jumps to this, oh my God, Black Lanterns. And then when everything settles, they go right back into their story. And it's like, what the fuck just happened? Like it just feels like they almost overreach a bit.
Now, what you trying to say? What it feels like is all the bullshit they had just went through, and once things get back to normal, it seems like none of it affects their day-to-day lives. Like if they just didn't go through all that bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, and again, it's at the end of the day, we know why they do these massive events, and with DC's case, in many instances, it's a reboot. So when you start seeing these crisis events, or like Flashpoint, or Blackest Night, Brightest Day, they're doing it to cull some of the characters that either A, they're not using, or B, aren't doing well. So they kill off a bunch of characters. And then they come back like, oh, okay, we're back to normal now. But all those characters are still gone. And it's like you may get one or two mentions post story. Like, oh, hey, I miss so and so. Yeah, I miss them too. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's just they're gone. Oh, well.
Too bad, so sad.
Well, and they also do this as kind of a bump to sales.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll do these reboots to try to get, the issues that aren't selling as well, or the characters that aren't selling as well, to get going, and to kind of shake things up, so that maybe, post event their sales numbers stay higher. At the end of the day, it's still a business, and they have to sell things and whatnot. But a lot of the times, because you have so many writers involved, and a lot of those guys, I've met some of them, and they don't necessarily like each other. Like, there's groups of people that, hey, I like working with so-and-so because they're on time and they get their stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Certain artists like working with certain writers, certain inkers like working with certain artists, like, kids, they know who they're comfortable with. Right. And at the end of the day, if they don't communicate, if they all don't communicate, you end up with a mess, and like stories, like these side stories where they just feel broken because they were thrown into this other outside story and then brought back, and then okay, we're just going to move along now. And it's like, wait, no, you can't just ignore the fact of what just happened.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Not to cut you off, but I'm sitting here, I was looking at the chat, and before we go any further, actually, Juice Cannon was actually agreeing with you on a lot of what you were saying, New Bomb. But before go any further, just like to say what's up to the chat. Didn't really get a chance to say what's up to anybody. I know we're 30 minutes in, 33 minutes actually, but I'd like to say what's up to Socks Bulletin, my brother Socks. How you doing? Great friend, great supporter of the channel. Great guy. Love you, Socks. Thank you for having our back. The long suffering. She's awesome. Love you too. Long suffering. You're great. Hopefully you're having a great day. New Bomb, my brother. I love you, so I don't got to say that shit. What's up, man. Low Spec Linux laptop. What's going on, Jeff? Hopefully everything's good with you. Juice Cannon. Man, actually, Juice, I got to email you back, brother. I just seen your email, and I got you, man. So, yeah, I got to respond back to you, but I appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother. Got Pacific 414. What's going on, Pacific? Awesome as hell.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, Mike is awesome. Thank you, brother. Zax. What's up, Zax? What's going on? Saying what's up to me and Baron and New Bomb. Thank you for that, man. Hopefully you're having a great day. Appreciate you. Hephaestus, my brother. How's it going, man? Saying what's up to me and everybody else, man. Appreciate you, Robert, man. Thank you, man. So we got the Pearson brothers in the house, man. Damn.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. See, this is what it's funny is I had to tell them both one day. We got Jeff Pearson, Robert Pearson, and that's Low Specs Linux laptop, and the Facius. They're two brothers from another mother's. But the fact that we got two Pearsons in the house, That's why I said we got the Pearson brothers, man, and I love those guys, man. They're awesome. Thank y'all, man. And Claude Salen, how's it going, Claude? Great to have you here, man. Saying hi, y'all. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. Who else we got here? Got Juice, and more Juice. What's up, Juice? Sock saying, hey, y'all. And yeah, it says Juice was saying, oh, of course, New Bomb, like he agrees with what she says. Events worked, gender and race swapping don't.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. But like what we said with the Flashpoint leading into New 52,
right?
That I guess you could call it a mini event. It didn't have or include as many characters as, say, like, you know, Crisis or whatever, but it definitely kind of flipped the narrative a bit, and then of course led into a reboot. Yeah, that one just gets completely shit on, I guess you can put it, just because of what followed, you know,
right?
the lackluster story, stories, I should say, that came after it.
Yeah, I agree. You know, actually, right now, have you guys been checking out anything new, like, you know, in comics or anything? You know, I'll tell you guys this, and you know, I know it's hard. I know it's hard to take what I'm about to say, but I'm just being straight up, man, like straight up.
Okay.
There's some comic books out there right now, and DC Comics is really trying, and it's hard to believe that. And I'm not saying like, hey, DC Comics, go buy this shit. You know, I'm not being a paid spokesperson or anything like that. You know, it's one of those things that they're bringing in talent that really is doing the work to actually put out some good product. And I'm not going to say it's everything. I'm going to say that a good 5 to 10 titles, and they got about 40. But at least there's a good 5 to 10 titles that are trying to do some things, and they're starting to show up on the top 50 comic books being sold. And this is the thing, like, look, honestly, in the last, let's say 5 months, 6 months, I've been going to the comic book store consistently. I don't have money to sit there and buy shit. I've been sitting there fucking with like maybe 2 or 3 titles. But then there's other titles more than the 2 or 3 that I'm buying that are actually, when I go to the comic book store, they're actually selling out.
Really?
And but these are the comics. I'm gonna tell you, Superman is selling out. Right now.
That makes sense.
It's like ever since Superman issue 1050, I think I'm not sure if it's actually, I think it's Action Comics issue 1050, but it's one of the Superman titles, and it's from right now it's at issue 1055. For like the last 5 months, they've been trying to establish Superman as being a core hero, like not putting him through no bullshit, giving him some good story, making him strong, not to where he's a cuck or he's getting his ass beat or he's looking like a chump or anything like that, like real respectable Superman. So they've been doing that for the last 5 issues, and they've been trying to like basically build him back up. And then of course Batman normally stays in the top 50, so that's always a given.
Yep.
Right.
They got Green Lantern coming out now, and it's already at issue 2. And buying those 2 issues, Green Lantern fucking sells out, man. Going to the comic book shop that's up the street from me, Green Lantern sells out. Justice Society sells out. That's another. It's funny. It's only a 12-issue limited series, but if you don't get there in the first or second day, you're not gonna have an issue.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
there's things like, and another thing, like I went to go pick up, try to look for Wonder Woman issue 800,
Mm-hmm.
like that came out just last Tuesday. I went there Wednesday, and dude, I went to like what
Gone.
I was hanging out with Stone Loki, from Loki's Mornings of Mischief. We
Yeah.
went to 3 comic book stores and couldn't find not one comic.
Damn.
So there,
Wow.
Yeah,
no, go ahead, brother.
well, no, I was just gonna say, like, and it's stuff like that when you look at the other stuff they're doing that
Right.
not selling, and you kind of think to yourself, like, are we the only one that sees this, or like what's going on in their heads? Because like they'll do that Superman run, and it's a good run, and people are happy with where the story's going, and yet you have the alternate end of things where his son is now Superman, and he's gay and whatever else, and it's like, how can you be so divided within your own company that you need to have 2 separate Superman run and be completely opposite ends of the spectrum, and one do really good and sit there and still produce the one that's not doing well.
Mhm.
And I think that's where people were getting frustrated. It's like you can tell good stories. We know you can. It's you're choosing to tell those stories alongside trash.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, the thing is, ever since Vaslov has stated that, hey, we're going to make Superman a priority, then that's when, James, that's when,
Yeah. Boomer.
yeah, nah, you're good. But that's when James Gunn decided, like, hey, we're going to do something with Superman. So we're going to basically raise the stakes on him in the comic books, kind of, put him to some kind of importance while we're trying to build him up, on the
Right.
movie side of things. And I mean, that's only right. Like, how the fuck can you have Superman failing, looking like shit in the comic books, but then you're trying to build up his character and build up who he is for the big screen?
Mhm.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Well, and I always thought, like, when it came to that decisive stuff, DC had, for lack of a better term, had a better handle on doing that than Marvel did. Marvel just went all in on your not just the gender swaps, but like the alternate storytelling, if you will.
Mhm.
And they didn't do the okay, we're gonna keep Cap, or we're gonna fix Cap because we completely screwed him up in the whole Hail Hydra bit.
Mhm.
And instead of doing that, they just replaced the Hail Hydra Cap with a Cosmic Cube Cap
yeah,
that's not the Prime Universe Cap, and then went about their business. And it was like, what? No, you still got Cap sitting in jail,
yeah,
like the
even
real Cap. Yeah,
even right now, he's still
yeah,
sitting there.
he's still there. Yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
And what's so fucked up is they never went back to address him or address that, or
Nope.
even do anything to say, hey, we're gonna merge the 2 Caps, or we're gonna restore the original Cap to what the fuck he's supposed to be.
right.
Mhm.
Shit, I don't know, man. I mean, and it's funny because they're coming out with new Captain America comic books and all this other shit, and it's not even the real Captain America.
No, it's that Cosmic Cube one. But yeah, like they seem to go headfirst into a lot of that stuff. And when, of course, the pushback happened, you got Kelly Sue DeConnick going, if you don't like it, don't read it. And of course, that
Yeah.
just completely took any air they had out of their sales. So, that's why when you look at the top sellers list, you still see DC in that list, and you don't see a lot of Marvel in that list. Because DC at least understood, okay, well, we have to do something to keep certain characters around and upheld and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel just didn't care. Like what they did with the Punisher. Like they've been trying for years to get rid of that character because they thought it was a blight on all of Marvel, which I don't know how that could be the case, but okay, whatever. Like half of your heroes in Marvel are vigilantes. Like that's just the nature of it. Right. People will view somebody who does things like that as a hero because they're doing it for the right reasons. So for them to sit there and completely just eviscerate the character to the point where he wasn't even Punisher at the end.
No.
And then to have his to have his wife come back from the fucking dead to berate him and take the house and whatever and
oh my goodness.
What? Like it was just a complete joke.
Dude.
Like talk about forcing an issue. Jesus.
Black Widow helps her find all the stash spots and all this shit, and then helps her sells it all. Okay, like now they're best buds, and now we're gonna go and we're gonna find all his shit, and then we're gonna sell it all so that we can give you half, and then donate his half. So you don't even give him half of the fucking money. You just tell him you can take his half of the money and do what you want to do with it. It's like, come on, man, you guys are just like all the worst things you can do. The worst things you can do to a man, you basically do it to him, but you do it on the level of it being like on some superhero shit, and it's like, fuck, this is too much, man.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, like, not only did you completely like make his whole origin worthless.
Yep.
Because the whole point of why he was doing this was, family. Now I know the Marvel Black series where they said his, they put him in Vietnam and then said a lot of his anger and whatnot came prior to the death of his family. But for the most part, in the Prime storyline, it was always the death of his family that drove him to do what he did.
Yeah.
So then you completely destroy that. So now
it's like a retcon.
It means nothing. But even on top of that, like he had interactions with Black Widow throughout the years that would never lead you to believe she would do that to him. Basically screw him over by taking the side of his wife.
And I mean, I don't know. The wife just got into the picture. So what makes her any better than anything? Well, okay, she gets brought back to life, but then she does all the most like despicable things of like basically what a woman would do to fuck over a man.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's the whole Yas Girl bullshit. Like,
yeah, I mean,
girl power and all that.
Yeah. Well, we'll find all his shit, sell it. I'll take half, but fuck his half. We'll take his half and donate his half, so where at the end he won't have shit anyway. And it's like, damn, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they come with this shit like, well, she's pregnant now with Frank's new baby. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Why did she sleep with him?
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. None of that made sense at all.
Well, when she slept with him, from what they're saying is she slept with him without knowing all the shit that he's done, and then afterwards she went through the hands, fucking, they have like basically every thing that Frank Castle has ever done since the first time he donned the Punisher costume, they kept track of everybody he killed, every fucking thing he's been a part of. You know, the mobsters, and that's the thing. Now, how was she going to get mad when he sat there and killed a whole bunch of mobsters, rapists, drug dealers, like you know, basically the scum of the earth? You know, even Nazis and no matter what the fuck, monsters. He killed everything that he thought was evil, or no good. No matter if it was on a street level or to the point where he'll fucking go after Dr. Doom. He wouldn't give a fuck.
Right.
And you know, but it's like she saw it like, okay, well, you did all this in our name, so like basically you tarnished the castle name or whatever the fuck, you know. It's like, get out of here.
Which wasn't even her fucking name to begin with.
Right.
Like, that's his name, not hers. She married into that name. That's the other thing. Like,
right.
Okay, if you marry someone, if you're a woman and you marry someone and you take their name, which you don't have to do, but many do. Right now, okay, if somebody does something to tarnish that name, just change your fucking name back.
Right.
Like, go back to your maiden name and fuck off, basically. Like, pardon my French, but bitch, that wasn't your name to begin with. It's not something that you, especially when it's the person that you married to get that name. Like, it's their name. They were born into that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just frustrates me because Punisher has always been one of my favorite characters. I always attuned to the more street level stuff. So Daredevil, Punisher, Luke
Iron
Cage,
Fist.
and
Yeah,
Iron Fist, and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and even though Iron Fist is still kind of mystical, like it's not straight up street level, but the way he interacted with that group, he was far more street level than ultra powered or whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, he has the hands and feet that'll kick some ass, you know, with a with a little something behind it. But it's like basically he still was fighting like street, you know. Well, he at at certain times he would fight somebody with some kind of power, but more than likely he was fighting street level thugs or maybe some kung fu master that knew his shit, that has some tai chi that'll fuck you up, and he was like, okay, well now I got to deal with this.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole point of like Heroes for Hire and all that.
Right. And I mean, and of course Luke Cage, you know, he has some strength behind him, but at the same time, when he needed to, he would deal with a super baddie, but for the most level, he knew he was I'd say he wasn't a thug or a street dude, but basically he was raising, you know, he was raised in the streets like me, you know. I was like, fuck it, man. I mean, it is what it is, and you know, he basically he had handled life the best way he knew how, and he wasn't trying to be bigger than what he was. He just tried to deal with, you know, basically before he tried to figure out what was wrong with the world, he was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on in his neighborhood.
Right. Right. Now, I will say with Luke Cage, there was some wasted potential, but the stories were well written, and you couldn't deny the fact that at that time they needed something like that. They needed more street level heroes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the big thing is the Punisher had fans that the establishment don't like. You know, your military people loved them. People who were in the police force liked them. Were fans of them.
That all came much later.
Yeah.
Like, and it was mostly the use of the iconography, the skull.
Right.
Yes.
And that honestly, I would say, really didn't start up until, I would say, the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah,
something like that.
Like, I seen it a little bit when I was in the military, but it wasn't really a thing. Like, people knew the character and read the comics, but they didn't, like, the merchandising didn't come around until much more recently, like the heavy-handed T-shirt sales and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know, and
Well-
I have a bunch of Punisher stuff. I've got the standard black with the white skull. I've got one that is kind of funny. It's the skull, but it's tie-dyed red, white, and blue, and the skull is, if you can remember the old Harley Davidson logo from like the 70s, that was red,
Yeah, I
white, and
remember
blue.
that. Yeah.
Right. So it's that skull, but in a red, white, and blue pattern.
Oh.
And it's
damn.
on
okay.
a tie-dyed shirt that's red, white, and blue.
I love to
So
see some
it's-
shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. And definitely different because not, everything with him is always black with a white skull.
Mhm.
So I thought that was kind of cool and I picked that up. But yeah, like the heavy-handed merchandising thing was definitely a more recent thing. And again, it's oops,
Nah, go for it.
I was just going to say with the whole police thing,
right.
it got kind of side connected with the thin blue line stuff because
Mhm.
that's what they were using for the merchandising. So they were taking the skull and taking one of the teeth, the vertical stripes at the bottom, and making it blue. And that's what pissed them off, even though technically the skull wasn't exactly the same skull because licensing and whatever.
Right.
It was just the concept of the thin blue line, because I don't think they had a problem with the military guys. It was definitely the whole once you got into all cops are bad and BLM and all that, that's when they really went after the Punisher and his iconography,
Right.
his logo. And it's about the point where they started to dismantle him as a character in the comics.
Mhm.
Like the fact that he even worked for the Hand was like, what the hell? Like that would be a group he would never ever agree to work with. Not unless it was to get to a certain point, like a means to an end.
Right.
Right. Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he would stomach it long enough to get to an end point.
But then
that'd be it.
but then the way the Punisher is, he would have thought about it enough to where he would try to at least figure out whether he was successful or not, a way to get the fuck up out of it once he got to that point. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he would have agreed to accept all that shit just to probably kill all of them and then
Right.
figure out how to rid himself of that shit some way somehow. Like, that's
Right.
the kind of shit Punisher would have done. Like he
Right.
would have taken advantage of the power to
Exactly.
probably fucking like basically if it helped him kill more people, more bad guys, then he would gladly accept it to fucking put himself out there more, to be more successful at what he was doing. And then by the time he felt he was content that he'd done enough, then he'd fucking try to relinquish the power or some shit. Like that's the kind of shit Frank Castle would have done.
Right.
Right.
Ends to a
He
means.
would have strategically planned for it. He
Mhm.
would have been, 4D chessing his way through it all
Right.
and been 10 moves ahead of everybody because that's how he is.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But no, we can't have that. We need to blindside him with his ex-wife who's dead.
Right.
Like,
Man.
I don't know. I mean, if they're truly done with him, I honestly hope they now I don't know how long it takes for something to go into what do they call that? Where it's free game for anybody to
Public domain.
public domain, yeah.
Mhm.
Like I don't know how long that takes. But honestly, like let it go into public domain. Quit fucking with it just to hold on to it. And just let it go. If you don't want that character, let it the fuck go. Let somebody who
actually
cares.
public domain for the Punisher honestly would probably be in another 50 years from now, man.
Right. Well,
So, I mean-
and part of that problem is they're going to do another Punisher series.
The show's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but then, you know, and I've said this before, you know, at that point, you know, like I'm gonna be real. John Bernthal, from what I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not. It might be a bunch of bullshit, but from what I heard, he said that Marvel had to agree to some things in order for him to come back as being the Punisher.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my thing is, under contract, once he signed the dotted line, what'll make Marvel stop from just, you know, of course, this new season that they're about to come out with the Punisher, they give him what he wants. You know, they give what everybody wants. Punisher with the skull, guns blazing, he's kicking ass, all this bullshit, bum bum bum, he's hitting it. Then all of a sudden, the next season after that, they change the skull. He comes with the swords. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, what'll make them, you know, within, let's say, the second or third season in of this new Disney Punisher shit, that they won't sit there and fuck him over, and just because John Bernthal has to fucking do the, you know, or if not, his fucking Disney will bury his ass with fucking lawyers. He's only one guy. He can't fuck with Disney like that. So under contract, they'll make him do that bullshit cuck Punisher shit that just came out in the comic books, and then boom.
Well, I don't know, like, you know, I understand as litigious as Disney is, but it happens fairly often in the background. People don't
just
realize.
did it to Daredevil.
Well,
Look at him in She-Hulk. Like, basically what we saw him in She-Hulk, these are the same people that is writing the Daredevil show. So it's like, basically, man, we're going to be getting, oh man, I don't know what the fuck John Bernthal think he signed up to. But I don't, do you really think we're going to see Punisher guns blazing doing some Netflix type shits on Disney Plus?
I don't.
Come on, man. I don't know, man. It's like, I can't say what we will or what we won't see because we're not there. But I'm just saying, it's like, how far do you think they're going to let him come back with that Netflix kind of presence, whooping that ass, doing that kind of shit, and it's on Disney Plus?
No, what I was getting at was people walk away from contracts all the time. It's not a end all be all thing. I mean, hell, fucking Cavill walked away from The Witcher, even though he was signed up to do that next season. Like, it happens. So, will it be career ending? I doubt it. He's done a lot of work with other companies other than Disney, so. I don't necessarily believe it'll end his career. And with the way Disney's going now.
Right.
You know,
I mean, but I'm just saying, like, they have the lawyers to still bury one actor.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or at least keep him in court and kind of fuck him with, you know, he has to pay for that shit. You know, kind of fuck him over with his money. Like, come on, man.
Name an instance where that has happened recently, though. That's what I'm getting at. Like, that has not happened, no matter who the content creator was. Like, they haven't gone, you know, scorched earth on a single individual. Like, not even if you look at like the Johnny Depp situation where they dropped him,
right?
Like, he didn't even like go after them because he's got the money to do it.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, it's nobody wants to sit in court, including a company, especially if they think that'll give them bad press. And that's kind of something that would give them more bad press on top of the bad press they've had over the past 2 years and the complete shit they've been putting out that has gotten them bad press. Like, right now, Marvel is in need of a win, and they don't have one on the horizon. Like, there isn't anything out there that anybody's like, okay, that is the thing I'm waiting for Marvel. Like, they came out with this secret, you know, whatever the fuck is
Secret Invasion.
Oh my! And like, Twitter said meh, and that was it. Like even the non-reaction to it is a loss
Yeah.
because it's not the press they need. They need positive press. So yeah, and until they get a true win and get back on track, I don't see them being so heavy-handed with some of these actors. And of course, now they're all fucking striking anyway. So who knows if it'll even happen?
Well,
You know,
I
Let 'em
mean,
strike.
right. Well, I mean, just think about like the same thing what Juice is saying. Now, Vincent D'Onofrio, what he's come out and said recently, like basically, if you would have seen him, like he showed up in Marvel recently, and now he's a smaller Kingpin. He's not as big as what he was. You know, I don't know if it's, you know, he looked like he lost some weight or whatever the fuck, but he's a different guy, and he's wearing fucking Hawaiian shirts now.
okay, but honestly, look at Kingpin in the comics.
No. But what he's saying is, this is not the Kingpin that you're gonna remember from Daredevil and the Punisher from Netflix. But my thing is, what we saw from the Punisher, Netflix, Daredevil, all that, everything from Netflix having to do with the Kingpin and Vincent, basically that was like the definitive Kingpin. So if we're gonna see something different, and it's not that, and it's not what we saw on Netflix, if we're gonna see something different, and it's not what we saw on Netflix, which we saw, what was that on the Echo? Like basically, he fought Echo, and Echo fucked him up.
Well, Echo shot him.
Well,
At the end of it all, Echo shot him.
You know,
And it wasn't Echo that he fought. It was Hawkeye, the female Hawkeye, was the one that actually fought him.
Right.
But yeah, at the end of that, and that's straight up a panel from the comics. Echo shoots him in the comics, and he survives.
Right.
You know, he's temporarily blinded, but he does survive. You know, the Hawaiian shirts, again, like, is it?
I've seen him
classic.
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him in the Hawaiian shirts and stuff like that.
Right.
But
It's
you know,
more
and so
Kingpin, but yeah.
right. But the thing is, it's like when you really look at Kingpin, he's really like sharp dressed. Like, you know, like if you're gonna catch him in a Hawaiian shirt, he might be on fucking vacation on some old leisure type shit. But it's like, but just to see him in business mode, you know.
Have you seen any of the set stuff for Daredevil? Because they got him in the white suit again, but they're tying it into the whole mayor of New York, which is the thing
I've seen it. Yeah. I've heard about that storyline. They're going to come with being That's interesting, man. I you know, the thing is, it's like people don't want to see a softer side of all this shit. I mean, you know, if like, look, after what happened with Daredevil, with She-Hulk,
yeah, that
people but that's the thing. But that's the core of who Disney Plus, Marvel on Disney Plus is that kind of bullshit.
Right.
At their core, that's who they are. To sit there and kind of pull that kind of shit. So basically, it was such an embarrassing moment to see fucking Daredevil walk across that fucking grass. He's holding his shoes like
The
you
walk
know,
of shame.
like you know, like it basically she just fucked the shit out of him, and he's like, well, you know, fuck, you know, I don't know, man. It's just weird as fuck, man. And it's like, okay, well, if we're gonna see Daredevil in this kind of mode, damn, I mean, Kingpin and Punisher and Jessica Jones is coming. Fuck, you know, people feel like, oh shit, this thing is gonna be doomed. Because if they're gonna do Daredevil like this, everybody else doesn't have a fucking chance.
No.
well, and like I said, they're gonna until they get that win, they're gonna keep losing money. So if they insist on doing this, then down the toilet you go, and you'll be a first 20-year success story, next 20-year disaster. If you even make it 20 years on the second go through. Like, I mean, they've made so many changes. They didn't go to the San Diego Comic-Con panel because they weren't sure if people were going to show up cast-wise because of the strike. Not because of fandom, but because of the strike and all that. And it's like, you know, they took stuff that they were planning on putting on D Plus as a series,
Right.
pulled back and said, no, now we're going to do a movie with it. Like, they keep making these fucking changes, like with Armor Wars.
Armor Wars. I was just about to say, yup.
It was supposed to be a series, and now it's going to be a movie.
A movie, right.
So, I mean, I don't know.
You know, and it's funny because I keep hearing, like, somewhere down the line in this Punisher, this new Punisher, that he might become, like, what, he's supposed to take like a War Machine suit.
Yeah.
They say this, I keep hearing like something like that might happen. Like we might see where they go through a storyline where basically the Punisher ends up getting War Machine's armor and fucking putting the skull.
That's not Armor Wars as a comic at all.
No, but I know that's something different.
Yeah, no, he has had the suit before. I've seen that.
Right.
And it's effectively just a black suit with the skull.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
One of the easiest characters to do.
Yeah, well, you know, they say that, you know, I've heard that they might go there with that, and I was like, for real?
I don't know.
You know,
And we've all seen the accounts that are on Twitter and whatnot that just say anything just to get some sort of attention and interaction and whatever. You know, it's until I see it or hear it officially, I just take all of that stuff and go, and move on, because that's all you can do with it. Because 9 times out of 10, they don't have anything backing that up.
Right.
They just say, you know, from a source, this is going to happen.
Right.
It's like, okay, sure. And most of those, like that one Marvel one, I can't think of the name of the Twitter account, but they just spew all kinds of rando shit. And 9 times out of 10, they're fucking wrong. And every now and then they hit one right, and they're like, see? We told you. And it's like, yeah, but what about all the shit you got wrong?
Right.
We ignore that.
It's like another, what's that? Damn.
Actually, to link onto what Juice Cannon just said, that Frank was a cosmic Ghost Rider. Frank was a lot of things. Like, Frank had the symbiote at one point. And then the symbiote had the ghost, like the spirit of vengeance. This is the weirdest fucking shit I've ever seen. Like, a flaming-headed Venom riding a motorcycle. Like, oh, Jesus. Like, when you run out of ideas, you start throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, but actually, when they actually, you know, it's funny. I own Cosmic Ghost Rider issue #1, and that's the only Cosmic Ghost Rider comic I have. You know, but it's interesting how they came up to where, you know, the whole story behind that is Frank Castle's basically the last person left on Earth.
Yeah.
And he ends up being a herald of Galactus, but when he does that, he ends up accepting the powers of Ghost Rider.
Right.
In being the herald of Galactus. And it's like, damn. And you know, and for a while people didn't know who he was. It was the mystery of who the fuck is this guy? Because he's just cosmic Ghost Rider. He's cynical. He's crazy as fuck, you know, this and that. And then you get to find out, oh shit, that's Frank Castle, the fucking Punisher. He's the last guy standing. And ends up being a herald of Galactus, ends up getting the power of Ghost Rider. And it's like, oh shit. It's like, you know, and that's what makes him, you know, that's what makes him such a badass, because he's not just Ghost Rider, he's the Punisher.
Right.
And then and it's like, basically you didn't know how this version of Cosmic, you know, he's Ghost Rider in space, but basically you wonder why he was such a badass, because he was this motherfucker that was a badass already.
Outlasted everybody.
I mean, come on, man. The Punisher. I remember when he went after Ghost Rider. Like he
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck, man. He's like he's.
Well, and the run that I was talking about, and I want to say it was either Savage Avengers or it was Midnight Suns where that happened, and it was like everybody's powers started getting bounced around between them, so it was really fucked up. Like the Hulk had the Venom symbiote at one point.
Yeah.
You want to talk about fucking crazy? It was like, what the fuck? Yeah, like they just started like toying with the characters. Like, where can we take this? We've got all these like really off the wall characters to begin with. How can we make them more off the wall?
Right.
And that was the result. Was this? You know, everybody ends up wearing the symbiote at some point, and the spirit of vengeance is bouncing back and forth. That was just fucking crazy,
man. My boy Juice says, "Where's Venom? Where's Rick Jones?" You know, it's funny. I know, no bullshit. One person that you would have expected to have seen even before She-Hulk would have been Rick Jones.
All right.
And it's funny how you would have the Hulk and his main, like his. I don't know if you want to. I guess the closest thing to a right hand man as possible.
Right.
Was Rick Jones. He's basically like a Batman and Robin kind of shit. And of course he don't, he for a while, no powers or whatever. He was basically, sometimes he was a manzel in distress.
A manzel in distress.
I like that, manzel in distress.
Yeah, basically, man getting into shit.
Wait. Just to make sure, because I'm not always up on everybody. That's Sentry, right? Or is that a different person? Who was the
Rick
one
Jones?
that? Yeah, who was the Sentry? Who was his human persona when he got Hulk to back down in World War Hulk?
Oh, that was the Sentry, but the Sentry is actually known as AKA Vigilante Williamson.
Hey, Mitch!
I don't think I'm the one who fought Hulk in World War Hulk. But I am. Hopefully, this mic works long enough for me to get through this. Vigilante wins here on another episode of the Primetime Kings. Happy to be here.
Man,
Sorry to cut you guys off.
Nah, you're good, man. It was I had to intro you in, man. It was the best way to do it, man. Fucking missed you, man. Love you, man.
Yeah, man. Same here.
Hey, shit.
Appreciate being here.
Oh man.
Cool. So again, sorry to cut you off. You guys can go back because
that's all good. We're just shooting the shit anyway.
Yeah, man. We just talking, man. What's up, Juice? Says what's up, B.
Where's Rick Jones?
Yeah, basically. No, Rick Jones. He's Hulk's homeboy, man. Like, whether he's the Hulk or Bruce Banner, Rick Jones has always been his right hand man. And it's funny, out of all the shit, like I was telling them, like all the shit we've ever seen of the Hulk, he's never been around, and he's actually
he doesn't exist.
Yeah,
he
and
doesn't exist in the MCU, does he?
No,
he
doesn't. And it's like we never seen him in none of the Hulk movies, nothing. It's like Rick Jones is fucking. He's as important as like Alfred or some shit. Well, not really. Alfred's more important, but
I know.
He don't say that. But
Like,
I'm just saying,
let's pump the brakes on that a little bit.
I had to catch myself on that one. I was like, oh shit. But he is he's a cool homeboy that if you know anything about the Hulk, you know about Rick Jones at some point, man. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, what the fuck you do? And it's like basically, I don't know. Even in the comics, he's kind of been there and not been there. But for the long part, he's still the Hulk / Bruce Banner's homeboy, and he's that man. There ain't been nowhere around, man.
I hate to break it to you, you're probably better off that Rick Jones isn't around. I think
he'd be his gay lover or something.
Exactly.
They might have done
that would be the very first thing they do. They would do not pass go, do not collect $200. have Rick Jones suck Bruce Banner's dick. That would be just number one overall draft pick of what they would do. Absolute first thing they would do.
Yeah.
So like,
and,
it's probably
and honestly, if they're gonna do anything more with the Hulk, and him not be Professor Hulk, because God, that's awful. Their version of Professor Hulk sucks. Like Professor Hulk in the comics, I could stomach and deal with, and it has its moments, but not in the MCU. That's just, you found a way to take your most dangerous, or one of your most dangerous characters, and make them just not dangerous.
Oh,
Right.
you mean like they did with the Mandarin?
Well, that too, yes.
And then
But
who else?
the Mandarin wasn't even the Mandarin. I mean,
No.
it was,
They didn't. And didn't he do that with I didn't see the Quantumania, but I think they might have did it with MODOK.
Who?
You mean Quavelmania?
Oh fuck.
yeah.
shit.
No, that was a sad movie.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go, there you go, brother.
There he
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
Sorry.
we got Stinky and Dildo in the house.
Hey.
Hey, there he is.
There you
We
go.
were talking about you, man. Your beak must have been burning.
No, it was Rubber Core. That's what it was.
Ah.
But yeah, like I'd rather them, if they're gonna bring anything from the Hulk side of things, like get the Sentry in, even though the Sentry isn't necessarily integral to the Hulk. It's your one fail safe if the Hulk goes ape shit,
Well,
right?
well, you
that's
know,
the dichotomy. Like,
they're doing that War Hulk movie.
well, they keep saying that, but
Dude, it's the thing is, look, they have they coming out with, they just changed. I don't know if you guys knew it, about a month ago or so. They changed the name of the new Captain America movie. They're calling it Captain America, either Brave New World or New World Order.
Well, it was New World Order. Now they're going to a Brave New World.
No, okay, it was New World Order. Now it's
Both
Brave
are
New World.
ominous titles, by the way.
I don't know, man.
And the one they went to is actually
Probably.
a book that
Yeah.
is not. I mean, that's like 1984 levels of what the fuck.
Yeah, Ayn Rand, right?
Yep.
I believe so. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like, oh man, both are very like, y'all know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm gonna leave it out, but it's just like, okay, you guys just smacking us in the face with your dick with this one.
Right.
Should have called it, Captain America World Economic Forum. Like, god damn, bro, not gonna go that hard. Like, but
No, I mean, and again, it's to be devil's advocate.
Right.
What's supposed to happen in that is the start of what's his face, Red Hulk, and
Right.
all of that.
Harrison Ford.
Right.
yeah,
But
that's right.
that team that he assembles to replace the Avengers,
The Thunderbolts.
the Thunderbolts, yeah. That's supposed to be the launching point for the Thunderbolts, because
Mhm.
post Captain America, they had on the schedule a Thunderbolts movie.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and that whole storyline in the comics was really dark. I mean, it was just the whole time.
It was
frame dark.
a group of villains posing as heroes.
Yeah, basically.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like shit. And if I'm not mistaken, the group was ran by Norman Osborn. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and in the comics, it was Norman
comics,
Osborn,
right.
and he became president. And that's how the whole origin of the Thunderbolts came to be, was the fact that he was in charge.
I have a quick question about the Hulk. I know, like, for the longest time until recently, when Disney bought Fox, there were different things with the rights for certain characters. Like certain characters, like they had their own version of Scarlet Witch and what you call it. But the other characters they couldn't touch because of just the rights with everything. Was there something like that with the Hulk, or maybe some? But it couldn't have been because they had Thunderbolt.
Columbia.
No.
Well, it was distribution was the issue with the Hulk. That's why we haven't had another Hulk movie.
Yeah,
is because Columbia still had the distribution rights to Hulk.
And
So
but actually, Universal
or Universal, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Universal that had the rights to the Hulk, man, and they and that's it's to the Hulk and actually also Submariner. That's why they were
Okay.
calling him
Yeah.
Namor, and they made him
Namor.
Latino.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit, I didn't know that.
and that's why he's from, you know, El Cosa instead of being from
Atlanta.
Atlantis and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
He's
shit.
from he
See,
couldn't
I
be
didn't
from
know
Atlantis because we don't want to offend the Atlanteans now, do we?
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah, definitely
wanna
not. We don't
offend
want to
those
do that.
Universal
either.
lawyers.
Yeah, we'll definitely get canceled around this bitch.
Yeah, they're not trying to offend those Universal lawyers and get a fucking have to pay a cut
So-
of that shitty movie.
And I'm going to be horribly bad with this comment.
Uh-oh.
They
Uh-oh.
hire a Hispanic dude, and what does he do? He gets rough with his women.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pointed out-
I fucking went there.
Well, Paulie pointed out the very first scene you show is from the back after he got out of water, and that's like very close to a slur. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even peep that.
Yeah,
That's probably from Latino Snap. But he's like this is the very first shot that you see of him, and you
Right.
show a wet.
Across the
So
border.
like, yeah, I mean, listen, Disney is always, despite their woke facade, they're always good at actually being very disrespectful to whatever group they're quote unquote champion.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's kind of a thing they do. So,
Backhanded
very good at it.
compliment.
oh man, yeah, just the whole Falcon story. I mean, I didn't see much of that show, but it
No.
seemed like the better story would have
Oh.
been him rejecting being Captain America, given everything they did, instead of I should have been,
I mean,
fuck Captain America, I'll
He
be
should have went
myself.
to Bucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thought is
Yeah,
he should
that
have
was-
thrown the shield away and then Bucky picks it up or some shit like that.
In the comics, he was always like, "Don't call me Cap." Like, I'm not Cap. Very distinctly.
Mhm.
He's like, I could never replace that individual.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not him, period. I am filling a role, but don't ever call me Cap. And they completely ignored that
Yeah.
in the story. And it was like, well, I'm Cap. No, you're not. You're not even close.
Do
You're not even a
better
quarter of
than
the man
that
a Cap was. You're like his left knee, motherfucker.
Sentient.
I mean, go ahead.
He said, "What's up, blacks?" From our Zacks.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Some funny shit. Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah. Now in the comics, the whole Bucky thing was weird because, like with the Thunderbolts, he was originally supposed to be U.S. agent,
Hmm.
and on the Thunderbolts, instead they're gonna make this faux Cap dude that they made in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's gonna be U.S. agent. So what the fuck is Bucky gonna do? Like, is he just gonna be Winter Soldier again?
I mean, I don't know. I've always thought, the U.S. agent was always used at U.S. agent. He was always
Well,
his
there's
own.
been multiple. Like he held the banner for U.S. agent for a bit, and it was about the same time as Falcon getting the shield in the
Right.
comics, specifically in the comics. And when the Thunderbolts, that whole dark storyline came about, he was on the Thunderbolts
Right.
as U.S. agent. But
Mhm.
it wasn't the original U.S. agent, nor was it the continuing U.S. agent, because that ended up being this other character who got some form of serum. I mean, I don't know. It's just fucking weird. No, I keep seeing no. All right, Juice, fill me in.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, my boy Juice. What's up? The Endgame Hulk was gay as fuck.
No,
Yeah, I
further
agree
down.
with Juice. Yeah,
Yeah.
Endgame fucking
Alpha Flight U.S.
Oh,
agents.
yeah, soft ass. V-Dub, that depends on if the Hulk took his medication.
No, you really need to go lower.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm just kind of going through. Yeah.
That was so far back, I don't even know the context.
Cynthia said, I know my balls were itching. So, Juice. All right, let me see.
Okay, John Walker was the replacement in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but was John Walker on the Thunderbolts? Because I know I've seen pictures of Winter Soldier on the Thunderbolts, but I didn't think he was Winter Soldier at that time. No. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Uh-oh.
Anywho.
Yeah, it looked like they done turned
Well,
on Baron
maybe.
real quick.
Yeah,
What
I
is
tell you,
it?
there's just
Yeah, they like they done turned on you.
Pardon me.
no worries. It covers up Duchess trying to growl.
Yeah, John Walker was a replacement in the 80s. Yeah.
Right.
And as Captain America, and then Steve and became U.S. agent, and then all of a sudden they ended up clashing to the point where Captain America took back his costume, and then John Walker took the fucking costume of
Well, the darker version of it, yeah.
right. Instead of him being Captain America, he was he became U.S. agent. Yeah, that's. And I remember, like, the first time Captain America stopped being Captain America, he was Nomad. I don't know if y'all remember that.
I do remember Nomad. And actually, what do you think if they would have went in that direction with Falcon? Like, instead of him being more, not necessarily Nomad, but more like Nomad. Because at a certain point, it seems like with almost the direction they were going, and they went the opposite.
Honestly, that from what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong, and I might have to look into this more before I should even say this, but fuck it. Yeah, from what I'm hearing is Chris Evans is coming back.
Oh, I heard
Really?
this.
No, but to do Nomad.
Really?
He's look it up, man, and I keep hearing Chris Evans is coming back as Nomad, and basically that's who Captain America he comes back as when he's replaced as Captain America, which they should, basically he should have done it when U.S. agent John Walker became Captain America, but now they're doing it under Falcon being Captain America. So if Steve Rogers wants to come back, then basically who is he going to come back as?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Good question.
it looks like I'm just trying to find all the references here. Like, so the whole storyline that I was talking about was Dark Reign. And it looks like during Dark Reign, Bucky was Captain America at that point.
Right.
And Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah, he
it's
had his own
all over
version
the
of the
place,
suit.
like, right, and a different shield. Well, I mean, it looked the same, but it was made by someone else. Yeah, it looks like U.S. Agent has been on a bunch of different teams, like Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, Mighty Avengers, Omega Flight, where is it here? Invaders, no. Stars, or Superhuman Tactical Activities Response Squad.
Damn.
West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, West Coast Avengers.
Oh, and at one point in time, John Walker was known as Super Patriot.
Yeah, Super Patriot. Yeah.
But yeah, that's weird. Okay. West
Yeah,
Coast
he's basically Captain America with an attitude, with an edge.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's
I like that.
that's kind of always the way they portrayed him.
Right. We and that's the thing. It's like back in those days, a lot of superheroes had replacements. It was kind of like what they did with DC at one point back in the 90s. I remember when they replaced Iron Man with War Machine,
Right.
and then it was Captain America with
U.S. Agent.
with U.S. Agent, and basically Thor got replaced by Thunderstrike. But then,
Right.
but those characters were Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, and then all of a sudden something happened to where they had to fight the original hero
Version,
for the title, or whatever, or basically some shit happened and they had to step down, but they were like, hey, look, instead of you fucking just getting out of the game, why don't you just become or have a power like me, or have a suit like mine, or hell, we'll make a hammer for you and you can become Thunderstrike. All that
now,
kind of shit.
From what I remember, the Thunderstrike thing was
that was Eric Masterson.
It was right, but it was still like it was the power of Thor and the whole hammer thing,
right?
And Worthy and all that other stuff. What happened to the because Thor used to have the human identity of and they did an Easter egg for it in the movie, and I can't remember the name.
It was Doctor forgot his fucking name, Doctor some shit. Yeah, he was a doctor.
Doctor something. Yeah.
Talking about Bruce Banner?
No. He had a secret identity that was human.
Okay.
Yeah,
Donald Blake. There it is.
Yeah, Dr. Donald Blake. Yeah,
and they did an Easter egg to it in the first movie where when Jane gives him the clothes to wear after the whole hospital incident, and it has a "Hello, my name is Donald Blake" on it, and he's like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my ex," and just pulls it off. I thought that was kind of a cool Easter egg.
Right. He said since you did Dr. Sochi.
Yeah.
There's probably a real doctor with that name. That's what makes it funny.
Right?
No, that's what I said, Dr. Some shit.
Yeah, no.
Oh, shit. That's too funny. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Dr. Miles Morales. What's up, Zach? Oh, shit.
Don't give him any ideas. Jesus.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. Oh, shit. That's too funny. Man. So, I don't know, man. Shit, Vigilante, did you watch anything lately?
To be 1,000%, man, I am like so beyond out of the loop with a lot of entertainment stuff. It's, part of it, I missed a lot of shows. It's like I have nothing to contribute anymore.
No. You good? I mean, you
always do, man.
Yeah. I mean, you might have seen something recently. Just don't know.
I'm trying to think what was the last thing I saw. It's a lot of stuff that I've been meaning to see, and I didn't see. I didn't even see Super Mario. I didn't see Miles Morales. I didn't really want to see The Flash. I mean, I kind of wanted to see Keaton, but I'm just like, man, you know what? That's not enough. So I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let me ask you this. Like basically, they say for a good part of what we've seen in the trailers, there was quite a few of those trailers. They said basically, we seen not everything, but
we've seen a lot of the cuts.
A nice piece of what Keaton was doing out there in the movie. But they said there's a lot of fight scenes and some other shit that none of those trailers show that Michael Keaton, or I guess his fucking stunt double is fucking kicking some ass.
Man, that's not enough, man. Here's the thing with me, man. And this is another reason I don't watch entertainment. I'm tired of being a Madden fan. I'm tired of I'm bad because I'll be buying these fucking action figures. And I by the way, I am of the theory that the only reason that fucking movie got released, The Flash, was action figures and was the merch. If you compare that to what was the Batgirl movie they canceled, I think if they didn't know that there was going to be some merch money, they probably would have canceled this. All that said, I'm sick of contributing to a company that I know is not going to make good content. I know for sure they're not going to make quality content. I didn't even like the Batman film that a lot of people liked last year. So it's like they're not on the up and up. I honestly wish I hate to say it because I'm not a Snyder guy,
Nah,
but
go
they
for
would
it.
have been much smoother just running with the Snyderverse, man.
That's what a lot of people have been saying.
Because clear when we now look back after that fucking because that's probably the last decent DC project was probably that Snyderverse movie.
Well,
I mean, kind of like Black Adam. Black Adam was a decent popcorn movie, but as far as something solid, it was probably the the Snyderverse version of the Justice.
you know what they said was like what Snyder's plan when they announced Flash in 2014. Like, hey, look, we're gonna come out with a Flash movie. That was back in 2014.
Yeah,
But they said that his version of it was gonna be bringing back Jeffrey Dean Morgan and having him. So basically, it was going to be more closer to the real Flashpoint with Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Batman, and really that was what
here it is.
that was his plans from 2014, 2015.
Yeah, because that's why
But,
they had him play Jeffrey Dean Moore. He was
Right.
Bruce's father in the flashback.
Yeah, man.
Leading
So-
to that,
so-
you're right. They sure
Right, yeah,
did
yeah,
say
so-
that. You're absolutely right.
So basically, it was like that was what we've gotten. But then, dude, they say this Flash movie, it ended up being something that was closer to the actual Flashpoint, and ended up turning into what they've released in the theater. But between that vision to what we got, that shit had to. It went through like 5 directors, script writers. My goodness, a good 7 or 8. Even Ezra Miller got with Grant Morrison and tried to fucking write a script and gave it to Warner Brothers, and that shit got rejected. So even Ezra Miller about 4 or 5 years ago wrote his own version. Him and Grant Morrison. I mean, Grant ain't no punk.
Yeah.
Right.
But he got with Ezra Miller. Yeah, you could look.
Yeah.
Y'all could look that shit up, man. Even they,
Man, I didn't know that.
even they submitted their script for the Flash movie. So it's like, damn, this shit been through all this shit, and then and again, like I was telling Newbomb and Baron, I was like, look, the thing is, this movie from 2014 to now, this thing is about in the last 7, 8 years has been in development. In the last like maybe 3 years or so, or 2.5, 3 years, it's been filmed and all this other shit. But then again, from going from Walter Hamada and everybody else that started up how the Flash was originally filmed, it went from there to when David Zaslav in Discovery bought Warner Brothers, and then David Zaslav had his own shits that he added to it because he brought back Henry Cavill and all this other shit. But then a little bit after that, after they filmed all that shit for the Flash, and then he ended up being in the Black Adam movie and all this other shit, James Gunn gets hired on, and then now he scraps Cavill's, whatever the fuck he decided to do, change. I don't know what the fuck he did, man. But
You know what's crazy? You're forgetting a part. Before Walter Hamada came in, that was the AT&T. Remember, before they sold to AT&T, it was a whole different regime. At the start of the Snyderverse with BVS and
right.
the first Superman Man of Steel.
Sold
So they went
twice.
through ownership. Yeah, they sold twice, 3 different sets of ownership.
Yeah.
In like 5 to 7 years. So there's no clear vision. And you can name about 3 or 4 movies that the same thing. Oh, they've been Black Adam. How long was that in development? Batman versus Superman. I was 14 when that movie was first announced. Yeah, back in the day, I was like, "Oh shit." CIA,
There goes his mic again.
My boy.
the CIA doesn't want the truth out. No.
There you go.
But I was like 14 when that fucking movie was first announced back in the early 2000s, and then they scrapped it for years, and then resurrected it after Man of Steel. And instead of doing Man of Steel 2, it was just like they just at every turn they changed
they
their
were
vision.
making a lot of mistakes in decision making.
Keep one vision and see it through. That's all they need to do.
Right. And even then, like when you had Batman v Superman, not everybody liked that movie. Like, and me personally, I thought it should have been 2 movies.
I did too.
It should have been an actual Batman v Superman, and then the death of Superman. Not a really long movie that kind of fell its way into the death of Superman.
And even that was interfered with. They should have did Man of Steel 2 first, maybe introduce that Batman exists in this universe, somehow
Right.
Easter eggy in Man of Steel 2, then do a BVS, then do a maybe Death of Superman, like you said.
Right.
Or then do Justice League, then Death of Superman probably is the smoothest way. But because
Right.
they can't see a vision through. They
Well, yeah, I
What's
mean,
the name?
that was the other thing that like Wonder Woman just shows up
Mhm.
out of nowhere and starts fighting alongside them. And I mean, they in the writing had to put in, "I thought she was with you," like because
No,
nobody
that's true,
understood
yeah.
why she just randomly showed up out of nowhere.
Right.
Well, let me ask y'all this, just kind of hypothetically speaking. What happens if the first time you get to see, I don't know, either Captain America or Iron Man, it's in Civil War when they're fighting against each other,
Shit fucks up everything.
and all of a sudden Black Panther shows up, like Wonder Woman shows up for the first time, and you're like, well, why the fuck is he here?
Yeah, but yeah, you're right because they had already set up. I mean, they kind of did that with Spider-Man. That was more like that, but they had spent the
Right.
first few years setting up the characters, and they spent that movie setting up Black Panther, like the first half of it, till he shows up.
Right.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
was
because the
a,
whole Accords and all that.
yeah.
And his
Spider-Man was a
father
bit of a
died.
shoe in though. They was just like because they had just got the rights, and then they reshot everything and put him in like literally months
Right,
before.
exactly.
So that was a little bit of a shoe in, but they
Yeah.
still kind of made it work.
Right, but
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, let's say if that was the first interaction behind
Mhm.
the heroes going against each other for some fucking reason, then you'd have been looking at it like, what the fuck is this? Instead of it being like some kind of build up to it, and that's
Yeah.
what made it, like it made it understandable when Civil War the movie came out
Somewhat.
in the theater, because you could have seen the build up and why it went down to that point, instead of having everybody clashing right off the cuff, and it's like, so that's what made people not even understand, like, well, damn, we just got Superman, and then the second time we see Superman, he's fighting Batman.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck
There's
is
no
this?
context.
Yeah,
No
it's like,
context.
and they're both
Yeah.
good guys, but damn, the
No.
second time we
Wait,
see
hold on.
Superman, he's
The
fighting
context-
Batman, and all it is him against them two just going at it.
Well, here's another issue. I
You
think
got to remember, the context was Martha.
Right,
forget
and then
that.
I was just gonna say, yep, they had to chill on the whole market. They're like, Arthur,
Ironically, that's my grandma's name.
Why did you say that name?
Vigilante.
that's my mother's name. That's
is
my
it?
mother's name too. Well, shit.
Why'd you say that name? I guess it was a common name, probably. That's probably why.
Yeah, it actually
Yeah,
is.
it was,
It's an
yeah.
incredibly common name.
Well,
of the
see,
generation.
the big problem with Batman versus Superman was this. It was basically staking it from The Dark Knight Returns. And there was a reason why
Okay.
those two had animosity with each other in The Dark Knight Returns. Superman sold all the superheroes down except for himself. There's no context with this one.
No.
Why would they be fighting?
Here, you know why, ironically, their context was, well, we kind of fucked up the end of Man versus Steel by making him, 7-Eleven Metropolis, him and Zod. So let's.
7-Eleven? I didn't know we
We're
had.
trying to- we're
I
trying to
thought it was
keep,
9/11.
He's trying to.
I'm
yeah.
trying to not.
Oh,
get
you're
this-
coding. You're coding. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
code.
I'm,
Don't worry.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
very sorry.
No worries. But no, it was the same thing. He basically destroys Metropolis, him and Zod. So like, oh, let's make that mistake we made into the reason that they fight. So they show Bruce Wayne's perspective, and it's like, oh, that's why. But it's like,
Right.
if they would have they should have done a second Superman movie first.
Right.
They would have done that. They could have still, if they wanted to take off the end of Man of Steel, and make him somewhat of a, like, okay, the people don't know how to feel about this guy. That would have been okay if they did that in the second one, and then try to build him into more of the, as I think 24 said, the underwear on the outside version. The classic version.
The Superman of Hope, yeah.
Yeah, the Superman of Hope. But they don't say it anymore. But what was it? Truth, Justice, and American Way.
Yeah, there you
Like
go.
that classic guy.
Right.
They could have built him in the second one,
Right.
and then maybe start teasing something And then maybe you should do a Justice. You should still have had at least one Justice League before BVS. You need to build that up over multiple movies. Even though I think Civil War, the reason it could have been, they could have handled it. The way that it played out to me wasn't perfect, but they still at least built it over multiple movies.
Exactly,
And you understood why
right.
everyone was. You understood why Steve Rogers and Tony Stark had issues. It was understandable.
Right.
So then they used 3 or 4 movies, 2 Avengers movies plus the Winter Soldier to build into that.
Right. I mean, and the first instance is all the way back in the first Avengers movie where they're in that lab.
Yep.
He's like, without that suit, what are you? And he's like, well, a millionaire philanthropist. Like he basically shuts Cap down. Like, nah, man, I'm a lot more than the suits.
Yeah. But I mean,
the whole DC thing was like, to put it in a bartender's perspective, it's like using a blender versus putting the ingredients in a shaker. Like you could have put the stuff in a blender and gently put it all together, building it up to a specific type of consumable product. And instead, you threw everything in a shaker and just shook the fuck out of it and poured it into a glass and said, here it is.
Yeah. And it's a shame because they're still going to keep doing it. That goes back to why I didn't watch The Flash, and I got to stop buying action figures. I have to stop contributing towards something I don't want to see because...
So basically you scooped up some Michael Keaton Batman.
No, I did not. I wanted to, and I mean, last thing I got, ironically, you mentioned it was Dark. I got some Dark Knight Returns action figures.
Okay,
I got a whole set, and but that's a lot. I spent I got it for somewhat of a deal, but I spent like $60 some odd plus shipping for all of these figures. It was like 5 figures, so it's not bad.
No, it ain't bad.
That's a great deal, honestly.
Yeah, that's like
honestly, if you don't want to put money towards DC specifically, you can always buy stuff secondhand, like Amazon, stuff like that.
Secondhand, you get beat over the head, man.
Sometimes
you can catch deals.
Right.
Sometimes you can get beat over the head, and I just happened to catch a deal because they got a 4-pack. They're usually $100, and it was $50 off. I'm like, cool, and I just grabbed it. But still, it's just like I'm always doing that. Every few months, I'm picking something up, and I'm putting money into that machine for them to make The Flash, for them to make Batwoman, for them to make whatever other thing that's trash. You know what I'm saying? For them to make Wonder Woman 88 or 84, whatever it was. 84. And so
Future Commandos.
Oh man, there's still no butthole cut of Wonder Woman 84. In reference to the cats, because I was out around the same time. There was apparently a butthole cut of that. But like, I'm sick of paying for these companies to make trash. That's why I don't really pay attention to them anymore. I've really checked out. So this make good stuff again. I haven't even watched the animated movie in God knows how long. As far as DC, they used to be good back in the day.
Actually, they got that one R-rated.
Which one? R-rated.
That's the holy shit.
Oh, I got a mailbox name, but yeah, we talked about that.
Oh man,
on that show.
I don't remember.
Yeah. They just dropped one that's R-rated, man. DC. Yeah. No bullshit.
Is it good?
War something? Wasn't it War something or something?
War World.
War World.
Yeah, War World. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that motherfucker R-rated. So I don't know. I never seen DC fucking drop R-rated animation. So if that motherfucker R-rated, would.
And I got another question. We see Spider-Verse, Marvel, despite having, usually the terrible anime movies, they have 2 anime movies in theaters. Why haven't DC dropped the anime movie in theaters? Never done one since that Mask of the Phantasm, which was actually good, but didn't really make that much money. They need to do more theater animation. If they can't get their live action under control, they get the theater. Even the dog agrees.
No, actually, actually,
you know it.
Actually, it's funny you said that. Václav was talking, about trying to return Warner Brothers animation back to some kind of prominence, man, because they were very strong, you know, with the animation. So I don't know what he means, what he plans to do, but he did say, hey, it's important that we get, you know, the animation part, DC Animation, Warner Brothers Animation, you know, up to some kind of standard. So I guess we'll wait and see what the fuck he's gonna do. But
Yeah. But I agree with the Vig. But the thing is really Marvel didn't put anything out animated until basically No Way Home. So that was almost virgin territory for animated.
Right.
But now that they proved that can happen, DC should wake up. I mean, it seems like whenever they come to my daughter it just came here, and the doggies like to say hi to her. But you know, with that, you know, maybe you know they've always thought that if it's animated, it should be like direct to video, or whatever. So
they should have been the first. If they would have dropped, was it Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, and Superman, Batman? I think Apocalypse. If they would have dropped both of those in theaters, they'd have probably they would have maybe probably pad out the length to a little bit. I do got to finish Edge Runners. I've been meaning to finish that. I've been soldering cable for this.
Edge Runners is so good.
All I've been doing is this damn studio. It's just been killing me. I'm so
Edge Runners is so good.
But yeah, I got through the first episode and loved it, and just hadn't got back to it. But I might check it out.
Edge Runners is worth it, man.
I might check it out today. Release more of it. But yeah, man, they did that. They had good 4 or 5 movies in the 2000s. They would have went to theaters. They'd have been straight, and they would have been better off and probably saved a lot more money than without a lot of those movies. Even though when we really look at the Snyderverse from a money standpoint, especially nowadays, now that everything ain't getting $1 billion anymore, you're like, a lot of these movies made $700, $800, $900 million. It's like, it ain't bad.
You know, actually, you know, now that you say it, Vig, you know, a lot of their like DC animated movies, a lot of them were actually good enough. I honestly, I think for as all the ones that they putting out, and I think they putting out maybe 30, 40 plus.
Yeah, at least.
I think out of all those, I think they had more than about 5. I know they have like a good strong five, you know,
5 to 10 probably.
Man, but I tell you, they have some other ones. You know, for an example, they got the Flashpoint movie. Was not, you know, it was the closest thing to an actual real Flashpoint out of anything we've seen from, let's say, the CW, from what this Flash movie's done, or anything else. That's about the closest thing we're gonna get is that.
And so I'm cool with that because that was great.
Right, but I mean, that's something that was good enough to say, hey, look, you know, an animated movie, if they wanted to get serious and put it out there, I don't know how many people would have went, but see, another thing too is they would have had to have built it up to where people would have thought that it would have been a treat to watch these animated movies in the theater.
But that's
it's like build up the following. I mean, dude, if you'd have put out 30, 40 of these movies by now, and you know, of course, you can't put all of them out in the theater, but man, you would have selected the ones that were good, like the ones that you suggested, bitch. I'm saying like those 5 that you suggested, and maybe another 5 more. But I'm saying, maybe another 5 more on top of that. You know, and
Justice League New Frontier. I could do this all day with these Justice League 2 Earths. They had a lot of really out cold fucking movies, and they're still out cold. They're still good to pick up, but they could have put them in theaters, and they would have put the time and the effort. Yeah, it would probably cost a little bit more money, a little bit more budget. Maybe you got to upscale things for IMAX or whatever. I don't know. You know, I'm not going to act like I'm a technical expert, but you could have had a lot of good content in theaters in between. And it's like DC's always waiting for Marvel to move first. Once Marvel do something, then they want to do something. It's like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Work to your strengths. You didn't have, and we can debate how much they were, but Kevin Feige, Joss Whedon, and what's my man name? The Mandalorian. He's the main guy. Favreau. You didn't have that staff. All you had was Zack Snyder, but you had your animation staff. So if your animation was going, some of those should have went out in theaters. Definitely, I can name good 5 or 6.
And people seem to forget that, like, even with Fox and their X-Men movies, Feige was still part of that.
Yeah.
So Feige has been around
You're right.
for a very long time, and probably even saved, I would say, the first X-Men, because that director was adamant about the actors not reading the comics.
Right.
Yeah.
Feige was on set as a producer, sneaking boxes of comics to the actors so they had context.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God he did.
Right? Because that could have been a
boy.
complete fucking disaster.
Yeah.
I'll speak more about Hunter on Sunday Night Games. I'll leave that alone because Hunter has a new channel, and looking at him because he showed up on camera. I don't want to disrespect the guy, especially somebody who also has a lot of weight. He's picked up some weight, and he's dyed his beard and his hair. He looks
Who is
crazy.
this?
Hunter. Yes, it's a whole. It's in the lore of the Vigilante Williamson canon. I had a show a year ago with this guy who made a game, and he's a bit of a he's a strange fellow. We'll just keep it at that.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
All right.
Wow.
yeah. I'm not going to tell you the channel, but I saw it and I was like, oh man. And it was ironic because you guys are kind of more interesting. He's on the internet. You can find him. He's out there, and he's doing stuff. He doesn't really look like himself either, man. He sounds like it, but he does not look like it. So you guys could have to do some investigation to find Hunter. But
Hey, man, DM me the information, dog. You know what time. Let me know. I'll look it up.
oh man,
On the low. I want to know nobody. I want to see this shit.
yeah. And I mean, if you watch some old episodes, I might have linked that
I need
channel.
to see this too. Yeah.
I feel like he has shown up in the chat, and I accidentally mentioned it was him. But I just feel so bad. I don't want y'all to. So Zach's did a show on the show that I did. I think the Flash of Phoenix also talked about it. So a few people have actually seen the old show from a year ago, and I'm like, I'm not trying to accidentally cyberbully somebody. So I was like, oh, well, I saw it the other day. I'm like, oh man, they would kill him if they saw this.
Well, you can always cyberbully me. I don't mind.
Oh boy. But yeah, that's he's a weird guy, but he's a I guess cool guy. I want to say, I don't know.
Weird but cool. Nothing wrong with that. That's kind of me.
Yeah. But yeah, DC do better.
Yeah. As a DC fan, I concur.
Well, look, I tell you what. Nah, real quick. Does it? You want to pull up War World real quick?
Yeah.
Maybe there might not be something that's somebody's. And I tell you what, I gotta run to the R&R. So pull it up, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I suppose when he comes back, I'll just have to let him take off here myself. I got something to go to, but I can wait a few moments here. It's good to see you again, Vince. How have you been, man? It's been too long since we talked.
Yeah, it has been. I've been okay. Working and doing a lot of stuff. And then trying to sleep, trying to get healthy. It's just so that's I've been doing that. And the new channel's doing okay. Like I said, I'm not really covering entertainment. Covering a lot of sports recently. Boxing and basketball, but doing okay. But covering those subjects. So that's been cool. And I actually got to finish a basketball video that I was supposed to finish before this, but I didn't want to miss out on this. So here I am.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
And I guess, you know what? If you're going to take off, maybe I should pull up the War World if I can.
Yeah.
Because
I
have stuff to do. Get it?
Oh, okay. I got about a half hour here now.
Okay.
He kicked it back a half hour, so.
And then, because they've went through a few different universes in their animated universe. They had a loosely connected one, like I was talking about with that Batman Superman universe, and then they made an official one. Was it after Flashpoint? I think after they did the Flashpoint Paradox, they had an official standard one, and then they rebooted that one recently, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I haven't really been checking out since they've done that.
Okay.
So I don't know where they're at. I'm not sure if these movies are still as good as they once were. Like I said, in the 2000s, they had just a lot of cold stuff, and I really, looking back, some of that stuff should have been, especially Flashpoint. That's one they definitely should have tried. That if I were to pick one movie, DC should have rolled the dice out with, I would say Flashpoint. That was the one they really put a lot of effort in, and I think a lot of people would have liked it, and I think that could have done something, animation wise.
Flashpoint. Let me ask you this: you don't? What about? I'll throw a few things. That's the Superman. Actual animated.
I didn't see the animated one.
We'll see. Well, I'll tell you what. In the last maybe,
and they did that a few times because they did the Doomsday.
Yeah, I think they had two of them, for what I've known.
Yeah.
So they have the original one, and then they had the one that they did like 2 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
They did one. Yeah. So, what do you think? Do you think they should have done one of them, or you think one's better than the other, or have you seen either one, or what?
So, if I remember correctly, the second one was in their shared universe that they had animated, like they had a shared animated universe, but they since, of course, like I said, rebooted. And I thought I watched that one. I watched that one on a family cruise when I was kind of drunk, so I don't have the most, and I wasn't kind of anything. I was lit that whole weekend or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of
as cruises, as goes with cruises, but like it was. So I have a higher opinion of the one they did in the 2000s where it was just Doomsday himself. But I mean,
yeah, that was a Superman versus Doomsday.
If they want to do the story well, they can do the story well. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of teeth to it. But they, I think they haven't really established a new Superman since Christopher Reeves. They haven't established a new Superman. They had one with Cavill. They wasted his prime, and then they threw him away.
Brandon Routh
was cool, but that they never really. I never really liked him as Superman. And then, did you guys hear about how he got the job? That's I don't have to conspiracy theorize on that one. He's the one who said he had to do something a little strange for a little change.
What?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't hear that?
Nah, what? What the fuck? What?
Mm-hmm.
He had to bust it wide open to get the job.
Oh, you for real?
Yeah, let me look that up so I don't sound like a crazy man.
Yo.
Oh, too late with that. We know you're a crazy man.
Yeah.
Bust it wide open. Bust it wide open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, tell me it ain't so.
What's what?
Tell me it ain't so.
I'm trying to find the actual
shit that Brandon Roth had to bust it wide open.
Well, War 24 is having a little bit of a meltdown here.
To get his role as Superman.
Okay, it's a complex article. Let me see.
I didn't hear that. That's news.
Yeah, I was like, Vigilante's like, yeah, he had to get beat up from the back. So I was like, well, wow. Wow.
Why? Who were the producers on that movie?
It was Kevin Spacey is one of them, and because
right there,
the movie, and it was him and was it Ratner, the other guy?
Who?
No, who was? I'm trying to. Brett Ratner. No, was he? He wasn't him. Oh man, I wish I could find the allegation because I hate when I say it was Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer. Yeah, well, Bryan Singer is kind of known for that.
Yeah.
Allegedly. You had to throw that in there.
Say what?
Oh man! Don't tell me you scrubbed it from the internet. Don't do this to me.
Oh no! Oh no!
I hate when I say some stuff Then it's just like, oh, he's just making shit up. It's like, no, I'm sorry.
I never think of
let's
that
see.
about you there.
It was
Okay,
there.
so produced by. So for Superman Returns, it was John Peters, Brian Singer, and Gilbert Adler were the producers.
I thought the rumor was Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer wanted some action, and I can't sing. Oh, maybe you know what? Maybe I made it up. Don't I hate to. I don't have a. I'm like I can keep seeing things from him. But I could have swore he had actually said it or alleged it in an interview, and I can't fucking find it to save my life. He looking brave. That's what I mean. Oh,
Sorry about that.
knocking
That
shit
was
down.
Mouse. That was Mouse. You know, he was knocking stuff down. He decided, I'm going to walk this way. I don't care if there's a microphone there. I'm an asshole.
Nah, it's all good, brother.
So yeah, while I look for this, y'all can do something else because it's gonna take me a minute. I'm about to put my internet digging.
Nah, you good. You good.
Well, maybe I'll just take this time to say I gotta get going. There's another show that wants me, so we did good keeping in with that hour and a half. When do you want it?
Oh, well, it's all good, man. We having
Yeah.
fun, man.
Oh, that's exactly. We're having fun. That's just it. It's amazing how time flies. But unfortunately, I gotta go. Mouse, be kitty. So it was great seeing you all guys again, especially you,
Yeah,
Fidge,
same here.
since it's been a while. Of course, you two, Newbaum, and hey, my brother from their mother, they're
You know it.
24, and everybody in the chat, including Cynthia Dildo. I was worried about you. I haven't seen you in ages, so at least we know you're still alive.
Oh, shit.
So, okay, well, take care, everyone. Love you all,
Hey,
and you all
love you
have
too, brother.
a great day and great
You
night
too,
or
brother.
great afternoon, whatever it is. Okay, bye.
You know it, brother.
Take it
All
easy.
right, my,
Yeah, take care, man.
all right.
There you go. Baron has left the house. That's what's up. Yeah.
I can't find it. It must. Maybe I'm just crazy. I could have swore Brandon Ralph actually said it, but I cannot find the fucking interview where he said it, man. So maybe I made it up. That maybe everything I say is alleged. I ain't trying to get nobody in, legal trouble.
Nah, you good, brother. Shit, I was like, man, dog, if he busted wide open like that, I was like, oh shit, I ain't never heard no. But it's
Yeah,
all
you're
good.
right. I need to check the alternate universe. Maybe it's Mandela effect. Maybe in the universe I used to be in, that shit was on the internet. Now it's not. I don't know.
Shit. I don't know. I guess it might depends on how you word it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, going back to the whole Superman thing, because that's why we even got on Brandon Rowe. I didn't really like him as Superman.
Or you
I didn't
didn't
really like that movie.
Oh, you didn't like
Yeah.
anything else?
It was mid.
Did you play the game on Xbox?
I did not play the game. Was it
That's-
cool?
Actually,
Probably the
it's
last
about-
Superman game we got. Huh?
Actually, it's probably like the most open world Superman video game out so far. You
Still
know,
don't know why we don't have a Superman game.
well, that's a man. I heard there were people working on it, and they got shut down. And I heard it was actually the people that were doing all the Arkham games were
Mhm.
supposed to be doing it. And I heard something happened, and all that shit stopped. And I don't know, man.
Warner
think
Brothers
they-
don't want to succeed at anything. That's the problem. They just don't want to
Right.
succeed. They don't. They're so afraid of taking risks that they make more mistakes because they don't want to take even the slightest risk. So
Right.
at every level, they fuck up whatever product they're involved with. They and then with the game stuff, I mean, we covered this here on some of the early episodes of Primetime Kings, that multiverses. When you
Right.
said it was free to play, I was like, oh man, I don't know if that's the right idea. And there was people excited about it, but after a few weeks or after a few months or whatever it was, it kind of fell off, and that was the end of it. And so they
Right.
You know, here's another game series. I heard a similar story about what you said with Superman, with the potential Flash game that they were using a version of the Arkham engine, or I mean, I know it's the Unreal thing, but whatever engine they had,
Yeah.
Right.
and they were going to try to adapt it for the Flash's powers, and something happened. Some exec said something, and it never came to pass. So, it's sad. You know what I mean? I'm trying to give you money. Just please shut up and take my money and produce what I just asked. Wouldn't have been hard to do. I mean, I'm sure it'd have been a challenge. You know, games aren't easy, but still better than what they're doing with this. I didn't like Arkham Knight. Or it's not Arkham Knight. Well, no, that was the last Batman. A lot of people like. I didn't like that as much because I hated the Batmobile stuff. And then Arkham. What I was trying to say was Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah. That got like shit reviews.
Oh boy.
Totally feel like a waste of money. And then they have the Suicide Squad game, which is they totally made it into another cash grab of a game instead of what it looked like it was going to be at first when they announced it.
Right.
So it's just like they're fucking up on all Warner Brothers is fucking up on all fronts. Games, movies, everything.
I never trust, like, especially when it comes to games. I don't trust whatever lead trailer they put out because it's 9 times out of 10 it's a story based, vignette or some sort of clip that might be cutscenes, but it's not the actual gameplay. It rarely ever is the gameplay.
Yeah, sometimes I mean we're starting to see some gameplay trailers, but it's still. Mostly be and that's
usually like a second or third trailer that they come out with is an actual gameplay trailer. Yeah, they build the hype with these story-driven bullshit.
Yeah. That's another genre that I'm very hesitant to spend money on is video games. Last game I just got a Street Fighter 6, which I haven't really played that much, honestly.
Yeah.
But I waited a week. I waited to make sure it was okay because I didn't want it to launch and be broken. And I saw the Spider-Man 2, that trailer. I don't know if I'm excited for that. And then speaking of Spider-Man,
the first game.
Yeah, the first game. I even like the Miles Morales. I know everybody here doesn't like it.
I didn't buy it. I refused to pay full price for that.
Now that's fair because it was cut content that they repackaged into a game.
Yeah, right. Because like their original game was 60 hours technically.
Yeah,
or give or take, depending how if you speed run it or whatever. And then that Miles Morales, it literally says in the Steam listing, it's like 10 hours of gameplay, and I'm like, for the same price as 60 for the first game. I was like, oh fuck no.
I thought it was 50. Actually on Steam they might have rose the prices because I remember when they both went to Steam, it was like,
well, because you weren't getting Sony games on Steam at all.
Yeah,
and then suddenly you got like God of War and Spider-Man and that, but it was the older original releases, and
they were like 3 or 4 years late. Yeah, that's right. That is correct.
But even if I wouldn't, not for 10 hours a game.
No,
fuck that.
That should have been a $30 game
at best. It should have been a DLC,
or DLC would have probably DLC would have probably been smoother. But
but don't they have like a deal now where you can get both of them for a certain price?
They might.
Like I already have the first one, so I wouldn't get the deal. I'll just at some point I'll probably pick up the Miles Morales one, but it honestly, if you played the first one, it's just the first one with a little black kid as Spider-Man.
Just more content. It's a costume swap.
Right. Yeah, but the first one had a ton of costumes already. First all the add-on stuff was just crazy.
So yeah,
and deep cut shit too, like crazy costumes.
Yeah, it did have like $20.99 and a bunch of different ones, and then a bunch
like the stealth suits and
Iron Spider.
Yeah, and then
they had Iron Spider. They had both versions of Iron Spider, which were the original comic book one, which is the red and gold,
right,
and then the movie one, which is the blue, red, and gold.
Yeah, It was, yeah, they did have a lot more in that one. I think, yeah, they just would have made Miles Morales DLC would have been cool because it wasn't because of how good the first game's mechanics were.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, you can do this again and I'll still like it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, this isn't as bad. It was the pricing and the releasing. That if that was a $15 DLC, I think a lot more people would have been a lot more positive on it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a cool little DLC.
Honestly, if they would have charged 25, people would have bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably would have picked it up at that price.
And that's just them being greedy. And I think it hurt Miles Morales.
Among other things, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think
I saw an article yesterday saying how because of the popularity of the movie, the Spider-Verse movie, and how people feel about Miles Morales in the video game, because actually that video game that they had put out, people actually had put money to. People bought that shit.
People bought it, yeah.
So between all that, what they're thinking about is probably retiring Peter Parker and making Miles Morales the official Spider-Man.
I knew that was coming. Listen, man, I'm letting you know now. Your grandkids and other generations are going to think of Spider-Man closer to what we think of the Green Lantern Corps. And they're going to think of Gwenpool, or not Gwenpool because they did that with her too, but Gwen Stacy as just as valid of a Spider-Man, and Miles Morales is just as valid of a Spider-Man. Right. And they're going to, I knew this was coming when it was like a few years ago. And I want to say my mom was watching. Was I still in Charlotte or just visiting? I can't remember, but my mom was watching like one of my little cousins, and he's just watching whatever Disney Channel or something, and they had this little Spider-Man Friends, and it was Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Gwen. I'm like, oh shit, they're going to be pushing this onto the new generation, like hard, and that's going to be their framework of Spider-Man. So I'm not shocked that they would want to replace Peter Parker. I mean, they've been. This was the whole point in the plan.
Yeah. Right. Well, and the Gwenpool
replacement theory
thing
confirmed.
Was always
you all right. I'm just joking.
The Gwenpool thing was always a joke. Anyway, like all the variations of Deadpool, like they always played that, loose and fast. That was kind of the point. Like before Gwenpool, you had Lady Deadpool.
Yeah.
And the whole Deadpool core, which is just insane.
It was almost played for jokes.
Yeah, it was. It was see what we could do with these, other if we take an alternate universe X character and make them
like Spider-Gwen,
a Deadpool variant. Yeah. Right. Just but see, they took Spider-Woman Gwen very seriously when they created her. They didn't take Gwenpool seriously when they created her. Only recently have they tried to make her serious, and it's just stupid.
Yeah, because Deadpool really isn't a serious character. But I think Gwenpool came first, right? And then they did Spider-Gwen. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. Okay. But again, that was kind of the joke. It was we could take any character and make them a Deadpool variant,
Yeah.
Which they did. And it was always within Deadpool's context. So it was, is it really happening? Is it all in his mind? Like, you never knew what was real and what wasn't. And that was kind of the point of the whole story, was that this shit could be all made up and who knows.
Yeah. But right now, because of go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, did you hear what happened with Spider-Gwen and this Spider-Verse 2 movie?
No, what happened? Did they put her on OnlyFans?
Well, the thing is, it's supposed to be implied that she's trans.
Oh no!
And that Miles Morales is into her, which makes him what?
Gay.
Well, no, this is even worse because if Gwen Stacy was trans this whole time, come on, bro. Wait, she has kids. Wait, no. I know this is alternate universes and shit.
It's the fandom being stupid. That's all it is. It's that side of the fandom being completely wrong.
Did they give them something to? Because they
Now, what they're saying is they're seeing something in the movie that
No, what they're seeing is a sign on a wall.
right.
Which, okay, fine, but her whole color palette is that pink and white and whatever.
Doesn't mean they
and
stop
like
being a bigot.
Right. They're associating her color palette in the animation to the pride flag. And the fact that in one of the rooms, you see a sign that says trans lives matter. Now, we all know you can support something and not be one of those individuals. Like, I'm not a cop, but I support blue, the thin blue line. But good. Well, and whatever, everybody has their specifics. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be a member of that community to support it.
But what I will say is I wouldn't put it past Disney. And I've been watching Disney.
See, that's not Disney. That's Sony.
Or Sony. Even so. Yeah. I don't put it past any of these companies to try to throw that bone.
Right.
And try to trigger. Because at this point, we know Raylos exists, right? So there's a fan base looking for this.
Oh,
so I don't think that was accidental to put Trans Lives Matters. And I will say, if you guys do not know the context of this is a fucking MF Lord. This song called Trans People Are Our Friends. Trans folks don't catch these hands. And so now vigilantes are Ascension Dildo's friends. So that's dope. But yeah, man, I would, before I just yell at the liberals, I say, maybe a bone was thrown. They wanted this to happen.
It doesn't necessarily have to be lore.
Doesn't have to be true yet. But I'm not going to put it past anything. But
the same thing with, like, in the same movie, you see a BLM patch. If I'm not mistaken, it's on Miles's jacket. Or you see it somewhere in his room, but it's there. Yeah. Does that make him, into the whole by large mansions shit?
Well, he wasn't a musty white person with an Antifa flag, so I'm gonna go ahead and say probably not. I saw a lot of people just bought shirts just to say, because no one's going. There was the same 10,000 people that they kept letting out of jail and moved around. That was a whole psyop. I'm not gonna get into that. But yeah, I do think that's just that they do still have all these platforms. They are going to toss stuff in, but you know what? Still didn't see the movie, and it does make him an NPC. I still didn't see the movie, but that shows, even though that's still goofy, they downplayed it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, okay, here's a patch somewhere and here's something somewhere. It's not like let's change the whole plot into, Abby talking about trans rights in the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. So you can see them kind of scale back and try to play the tweener role. Sports have done that too, right? Yeah. This is because they do they went real hard with the BLM, and now you just see patches and stuff, but they don't really say much.
Right, and you don't even see much, like, because with the NFL was the back of the helmet.
Yeah,
like the writing on whatever that little, like, guard thing is on the back of the helmet that basically follows the edge. You look at it now and it's all just nondescript, hate sucks or whatever. Like, it's so bland. It's almost nothing at this point. And hockey announced, and this is funny because everybody's up in arms. That whole community is pissed off because hockey went, we're not wearing any practice jerseys and warm-ups next year that promote any activity.
Smart. Didn't somebody get into some trouble because he didn't want to wear?
Yeah, it was one of the Florida Panthers players.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm just not gonna go out and practice. He didn't even get in trouble with the team. The team was like, no, we respect his right to choose not to do that. It was all the pundits, the sports media that went, he should this and that, and they were bitching.
I did see that, yeah.
It's fucking stupid. But yeah, basically Gary Bettman and the NHL went, all right, enough of this shit. We're done.
Yeah.
Nobody gets special jerseys next year.
The NHL does not have enough fans to lose. Like, they can't play those games. Even the NFL couldn't play those games. They saw those ratings drop. It beat some of the worst ratings they ever had.
COVID too.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it, especially for the Super Bowl that year, that was the worst rated Super Bowl. That scared the shit out of them. They went totally about face.
Yeah.
They said, "Fuck some ESG. We need these dollars, man.
We need some dollars.
We need some real dollars. We can't afford to wait on that ESG check. We need this money now. So, we'll put a little, that this end racism in the back of the end zone that you see for half a second. Is that enough to get us ESG and get our social credit right? Because if not,
yeah, get the points.
Yeah. So
Well,
I think
it's
that's
funny
the new wave.
Zach says he's like, it was a lot of the Russian players, which is true. A lot of the Russian players were like,
They
nah,
special.
bro, I ain't wearing that shit.
Yeah.
And then people were
We
bringing
gotta
up,
go
well,
back home, man.
right, because
You know what I mean?
they're, well, and a lot of them come from a religious background. I mean,
Mhm.
that's very typical with hockey. But then people were like, well, they never complained when they were wearing American military stuff because for a while they were doing like the camo jerseys and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but look at Russia. Russia has a very keen sense of military, just like the US does. So they wouldn't. Camo is camo. Camo is nondescript to American or any other military. It is a common thing used in all militaries.
Yeah.
So to wear camo is not unrealistic. It had American military promotions on it, Army, whatever. But it wasn't something that they don't believe in outright. Whereas the whole pride shit, they just were like, nah, we ain't doing that.
You can't push your life on other people. You know what I mean? It's just that's just gotta stop. Like, just stop pushing. Because I don't even think, I don't even think most of this pride stuff is coming from actual gay people. It's coming from companies. It's coming from the ESG folks. It's coming from allies, quote unquote.
I will say there are factions within that group that obviously have issues.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are, it's the super vocal minority. Because, like, you have that Twitter account, Gays Against Groomers. They don't want that shit. They don't want to be associated with that shit.
I would imagine more of that community are probably closer to that than the like blue-haired screaming with all the patches and this is the neighborhood.
The man-ish female or the female-ish man.
Yeah,
whatever.
I've heard a lot of them talk shit about that because you just see that shit and it's like, man, this is crazy.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is, like, one of the jobs I used to work at, a guy there,
shout out to APN,
right, was a part of a trans review. There's a bar in town that does, drag queen stuff, and even he was pretty based in his mentality. Like, yes, he does these shows, but like outside of that, he was like, no, I'm a dude. That's it. Like, I may be gay, but I'm not like over the top. Like, he was very normal, dressed normal, didn't push that narrative because that wasn't his thing.
Yeah. In general, most people just trying to get through their day. Get through their day,
exactly.
hang out with their friends and family, call it a night. I think most people it's hilarious that when you say, I'm looking at the chat.
Gag.
Yeah. But probably because they feel like gagging just from all this over, just like every fucking, you can't go anywhere without seeing that damn rainbow. And it's like, man, you guys have jumped the shark, just like outside of whatever you think political. It's just like, you have to stop. Even if I had the liberal Joe Biden and AOC tattoo across the chest, I would say, guys, we got to stop this. Just like, this is way too much.
Even,
every character can't be gay.
Go back a number of years. Like, even within a scenario, like, you could tell who was the more feminine in a relationship and who was the more masculine. The masculine gay guy was just a dude who liked guys. Whereas the feminine one was the one that was way over the top. Everything was dramatic. 10 times what even a woman would be in a scenario. They had to be the center of attention and everything. And it's that type of individual that evolved into what we're seeing now.
So what you're saying is, even in gay relationships, just blame the woman. I got it. I'm with you.
Well, yeah, no, I mean that's not new.
Oh, man. You say that, man. I saw I want to say it was a YouTube short, and these dudes were like, I want to say they were firemen or police officers, and they're like huge motherfuckers.
Right.
And like for them to be gay is like, nah, man, you motherfuckers are too big, just like super, like
tear that asshole up.
Yeah. These are ginormous. Like they're both the man. Like fuck this. I don't want to get into any argument with you two motherfuckers ever about anything.
Well, right, but that's also the nature of that job too. Like you
True.
need to be in shape.
Yeah, can't be picking up fat fucks like me out of a fucking burning building.
Right.
Looking like with skinny twig legs. You gotta can't skip leg day.
Well, yeah,
that's another can of worms.
When all this shit was going on with females need to be more accepted in these jobs, it's like, okay, make sure you're physically capable.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if the house is burning and I'm inside it and I need someone to save me and a woman walks through the door and she's tiny, I'll walk my fucking self out. I don't care if my legs are broken. I'll drag my ass out because I know you're just going to drag me out as well because you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, that doesn't mean that you couldn't have a woman in a different role at, maybe.
Right.
Obviously a lot of EMTs are women. That's different. Someone who's helping with the medical stuff. Maybe someone's dispatching. But to do the physical work, you need someone capable of it. And that's the truth for a lot of those jobs. I'm in the Houston area. You want to do something in the oil and gas, you're talking about the physical stuff?
Yeah. Well, they don't want those jobs.
Yeah, it's
At
funny.
the end of the day, like oil rig work, nah. You never see, like every now and then you might see a woman doing that.
Right.
But it's like the description that we gave. Like, she ain't a little girl.
No, it's usually one of those chicks who lift. You know what I mean? Like lift heavy.
Right, exactly.
Doing 300-pound squats and shit. Like, okay, like maybe she could do it. Maybe a little bit on the butchy side. Not to disrespect, no disrespect, but this is just a typical. If you see a woman at this job,
need to be.
Yeah, you kind of do need to be this because it's a tough job. That's why you don't see women, and they're not doing sewage. They're not doing waste management. They're not doing a lot of these jobs that only men are going to do. So it's like that's why people get paid to do those jobs because nobody want to do them.
Right, and they actually get paid pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who went through firefighter training, and like he wasn't like super large, like power lifter large, but he was in really good shape and could lift more than his own weight. And even he had struggles getting through that training. And it's like, you're going to tell me you're going to change the training to fit the 110-pound female?
Like
nah, bro, that ain't working.
That's gonna cost somebody their life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All jokes aside, you can't be doing that. So and I don't know, like, God, how crazy of a society. And shout out to Kai. Kai's a great rapper who is a firefighter in Brooklyn. But like, how did we get here? Like, I know how we got here, but like, goodness, why is logic such a crazy thing? Why is logic offensive? And it's always offensive to people who aren't even the aggrieved person.
Yeah.
It's always these people who want to just talk shit and stir up bullshit that are offended. It's like, man, it's just a reality. And listen, man, I saw I was watching this fucking again YouTube. Right. It was like a interrogation, and they had a woman go in, and she didn't get any like hardcore information, but she got information that like somebody's account, and she was able to make all these different connections. And it's like, you know what? I don't think a dude would have been able to do it because she was kind, she was nice, she didn't go hard at him.
Right.
So just talk.
There's something about a feminine presence that tends to put people at ease,
Exactly.
especially if they're not over the top. If they're very calm and gentle with an individual,
Yeah.
versus an imposing individual going in saying, "You're going to tell me this, I'm going to break your fucking fingers."
Yeah, it's not the same. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad they had, because I don't think a man could have accomplished what she just accomplished. And it was because so it's not like women don't have their place in some of these roles or can't add something. And
Right.
What was that? Girls are good too, or some shit like that. It's just like, okay, man, you don't have to, fuck up the world to try to prove some ridiculous point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Celebrate people's, and I hate to say this because it's fucked up the whole channel, but celebrate people's differences, man. Just people are different, and that's okay. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I've seen that, Sentient, and it's hilarious. There's a number of videos that are actually like somebody transitioned, and then they're like, "Fuck me, this was the worst idea ever," and it was because they transitioned into being a man, and then realized now they're the hated gender. And they were like, "Fuck! I didn't realize it was going to be like this." Like,
yeah,
there you go. We've been telling you, you just don't listen.
What they really realize is there's no support system. Like we don't accept a lot of the shit that we accept from women because we just don't accept that from ourselves. You know what I mean? Like bullshitting yourself. No, your feelings don't really matter. And sometimes obviously that's a negative, but that's an issue in men's mental health that's centuries old. You know what I'm saying? So she couldn't really handle it. And I remember seeing the one video because I don't know what surgery and everything. She looks like a dude. She just looks like a smaller dude. Right. I shouldn't say he. Oh my god! But you know what I mean. The individual looks just like a man. If they didn't tell me they were trans, I wouldn't know. But they were very upset about how different it is. Like, yeah.
How hard it is to get a job. Like, it ain't no joke. And for centuries, men have been told, whatever problems you have, keep it to yourself.
Exactly.
Bury it deep inside and move on. Mm-hmm. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to proceed through life. Now, once you get married and whatnot, that's different because then you have, a significant other that you can confide in and whatever. Yeah. But like for the single male, for the single male, it's brutal because you don't have that support network or even, significant other to just be like, fuck, my day sucked.
Right.
You got buddies that you can do that too, but they're all in the same boat. So it's like, they're not going to be able to, other than they understand what you're going through, they're not going to be able to, to comfort you like having a significant other could.
Yeah. And I think, you know what? Another thing is, women don't realize how hard it is for dating as a man. Because they start off a few steps in and don't realize that they started off a few steps in. Like they already start off at the date. Like someone asks them for a date, they go on a date. That's it. Like the man, before he got to the point where he asked you for a date, he asked a bunch of different women for a date who said no. And they're not used to that at all. And I'm not trying to, it's just the case. And I think that's another thing. They tell themselves these different stories and narratives that aren't reality. And I think this is just common for everyone. Everyone has a narrative for someone who isn't them. And once they realize how different the reality is, it hits them. And I think, listen, you can, whatever you feel you are, whatever. I'm not trying to get 24 anymore channel up.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
But it's like, man, you can't. Yes, it's rough being a man. Everybody's got to eat their shit sandwich, man. It's rough. It's rough being on this earth. So, grass is always greener from the other side until you get there. So,
well, yeah. Sure. Well, yeah. No, I will add to this. The majority of women don't experience it. I'm sure there are some women who go through difficult scenarios where they're interested in somebody and that person's just like, nah, I'm good. It happens.
Yeah.
It's probably just not as frequent
nowadays, especially depending on what you are. Like, if you got like 3 or 4 kids, it's like, oof. Especially they're young. Oof. they're grown
Right.
and they all deal with them. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just, they told themselves. I knew an individual, and she was a female but wanted to transition, and she had told herself all these fucking stories of how much better. Yep, Celebrate Our Differences got me a community strike on our old channel. That was that reference. It's not YouTube. It's an MTV skit, MTV2 skit. It says we gotta celebrate our differences, and they kind of make fun of a bunch of people. But that got me a community strike for racism or hate speech or something. But back to the individual who and I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't know. Maybe they, Fall know it's the same motherfucker who was in that one video. But like, they told themselves everything was going to be better once they transition. I'm like, listen, I don't know what you think being a dude is like, but it's not that, and I'm letting you know. And they just would not accept it. Just would not accept that their problems were not all going to change if they once they transition. It's like, man, that's
you just end up with a different set of problems.
Yeah, that's actually kind of scary. It's like this, I probably shouldn't say no more. For real, just knowing how this platform is.
I mean, at the end of the day, everybody, no matter what they are or who they are, has problems.
Yeah.
Like, that's just life, and it's, thinking the grass is greener is what gets a lot of people into shitty situations.
Right.
Yep. The grass is never greener. You got to water the grass you have. It's always been the best.
Make your grass greener.
Yeah.
And I don't mean dyeing your fucking hair.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's too funny.
Zax, ultimately, you're just a hairy, low T chick. Damn.
Yeah. I have a question. How are they growing beards like this, man? Because my face,
they're getting testosterone injections. It's part of the chemical swing that they do.
But my thing is, I'm a dude for 35 years and cannot grow some of the beards some of these chicks have. They got masculine ass beards.
I guarantee you, if you were to
hop on that TRT,
no, not even just that. It's like, because even Jose Canseco was doing testosterone injections because of the rampant steroid use he had gone through early in his career.
Yeah.
That by towards the end of his career, and then afterwards, his body was producing zero testosterone. So he had to take injections just to keep a balance.
That's very common among steroid abusers, because you can't do that to your body. It's not going to.
Well, your body looks at it like, oh, you're going to supplement with something else. I can just stop them. Because your body's more than willing to stop producing just about anything.
Yeah. It's always trying to do less work. And so once you do that, it may never. Sometimes people can get it come back if they don't go too hard. That's why people do the cycles. And we've learned a little bit since that Canseco era. But even then, people will still. Sometimes that shit never comes back. Never. You have to TRT the rest of your life because you're never going to produce testosterone. Which is part of the reason I'm scared to get on TRT in the first place, because I don't want to get to that point early. You know what I mean?
Well, the male body is going to reduce its production of testosterone over time. And that's like, if you hear any of those commercials, you get to about 40 and that's where things start to nosedive. And it's not even like, oh, it's 5% less or it's 10%. It's like 35 or 40% drop. So that's why they have these programs where they ease you back into, or they ease the injections into, so that you don't jump to 100% right away. You kind of build back up to it.
Yeah. But shit, we joke about the motherfuckers, the alpha males, all these like 50-year-old dudes on TRT talking about their alpha male. I don't want to.
Well, that was one of those infomercials for fucking years. That 60-some-year-old dude that was all buff,
Yeah,
and he was getting like all the young chicks, and I'm like, nah, bro, it's the money in your bank account that's getting those chicks.
Yeah.
It ain't your body.
Yeah, that's the little fetish they sold people.
Yep. Yeah, and that was always a big load of bullshit.
Oh,
that shit probably didn't even work. I mean, I never tried that shit, but I can't imagine. You know,
I mean, the normal injections work.
Yeah, injections, but they were selling like some random pills.
Oh,
like,
pills,
bro.
Yeah, no.
I mean, but isn't that
get testosterone that way?
No, but I mean, isn't that like the equivalent to like HGH?
HGH is
sort
a
of
whole
it.
different set of things, but like it's similar. Like, because HGH people do that too to try to rejuvenate their youth and stuff like that.
Because that's what Stallone was on, right?
Mm-hmm. He was on both.
Yeah, but that's like the HGH and the heavy steroid stuff. That's actually like he was trying to keep his body large.
Going. Yeah,
like he was trying to keep big and buff for all those movies. Whereas like the Canseco thing was he was doing the steroids to keep his production up in baseball. When he stopped doing the steroids and stopped playing, his body just went, okay, I quit, and said, I'm not going to produce anything. And his doctor literally had him do it.
Yeah.
Like he had no choice.
Well, you know, I will say this about Stallone. We don't know if he had a similar thing. I mean, you look at, ironically, Rocky IV, that he was not natty, man. I know they did the little training, but he had his own testosterone shots off screen.
Oh, yeah.
So he might have had a similar thing happen to him.
Look at him from the first Rocky to the fourth Rocky. Like in the first Rocky, he was just a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you could see there was muscle there, but there was definitely no definition.
Yeah.
Not like Apollo Creed.
Yeah, Apollo was crazy.
Apollo was ripped as fuck.
Yeah, he was super ripped.
You know, he had to do that to kind of put in a little bit of believability. Like you need to be pretty ripped, at least to be in whatever weight class they were in. Now, I always argued that Rocky wasn't in heavyweights.
Right? He looks more like a
middleweight.
Yeah, like a middle, maybe light heavy at the heaviest, but like not
a heavyweight.
No.
Because full-on heavyweights never looked like that.
No, I mean, shit, they've gotten so much bigger even since then. They're like, you look at fucking Anthony Joshua, he's like 6'6", 250. It's like,
right.
These are big motherfuckers. Stallone's what, 5'7", maybe 190 at his biggest? Nah, son, that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah, especially in cut down form, he was definitely under 200.
Yeah, probably, yeah. There is no tomorrow.
I would akin him more to like a Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, he's probably closer to his weight than he was a real heavyweight.
Right, exactly. And because they never stated as such.
Yeah, they didn't
need to. Yeah, there's never an idea. I think at one point in the first movie they had mentioned heavyweight championship, but it was more believable with the first Rocky because of the fact that he wasn't cut and Apollo Creed was a taller, bigger individual.
Yeah.
You know, you could buy into, okay, well, he just has all this extra weight on him. But once you get to like 2, 3, 4, like, nah, bro, you're no longer a heavyweight.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the thing, because he was supposed to be this like world champion. It's like, well, you got to look a lot better than you did in the first one if you're supposed to be like the best boxer on earth. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that's whole nother can of worms. Stallone was busted. Oh yeah, you're right. He was busted via steroids. Yeah, he might be on a similar thing with it, and a similar thing might happen with HGH too. I know HGH is one of those things. When you do it in low dose, it can be healthy, and if you do it in high dose, you can look like these crazy fucking bodybuilders with their organs fucking overblowing. Like literally, some of these guys have guts because their organs have grown. It's like crazy.
If you look at most of the Marvel actors that had to be big, you know, like a Chris Hemsworth. You look at Chris Hemsworth before Marvel, he was not a big dude.
He
was
like
tall,
100 pounds of pure muscle. That's like
right, and in a very short period of time.
Yes,
very short period of time. that
Almost,
the
it was
guy that
actually
was in it,
incredible to do even on steroids. Like most people on like I don't know how he
right,
did it.
it still takes a ton of work. Like
Yeah.
you're in the gym constantly.
Yeah.
Just look at Rock.
Mhm.
Like you can't tell me he's not taking something
Oh yes,
because he's
obvious.
getting up there in age.
That's obvious. He
But
was
like even the guy from the Eternals, that not Gianni or whatever,
mhm.
Oh,
when they cast him, everybody was like, "What?" Like the dude's 160 pounds soaking wet, and then all of a sudden he starts posting pictures of his gains, and it was like, "Bro, you just got the role. Like, what the fuck?"
You know
Right.
what? That makes me think. I think they were. We talked about Namor.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to like fuck with him because he did not look like he had. He looked completely natural and achievable. Like he did not
yeah.
look.
Well, he
Like
looks
he-
like a dad bod almost.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, they didn't give him the same supplement package. Did he not want to take it? I get that. I
It
can
could
understand.
be. He could have said no.
Like, nah, man, I don't want to fuck with my. We just talked about you fuck your whole system up with this shit.
Imagine how much worse he'd be if he was on steroids.
Oh man, he to look like that. You need to go back to the dealer, bro. You got the wrong shit, man.
Right?
You
No,
got the
I'm
wrong
talking about his woman beating.
Oh no. The roid
He'd be
rage.
so much worse on the roid rage.
Ah.
Oh, you heard about that, huh, bitch?
Well, he was smacking his chick
Yeah.
in real life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
I did
Yeah,
not
there-
hear about that.
Abuse allegations. I think from multiple people too, not just
Yeah.
not just
See,
one.
man, I'm hard. I can't call it with the allegations no more, man. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say
Right.
it's blame the woman or the man because anything can happen nowadays. It's just hard to call it.
Right.
That's been within the last like three weeks to a month.
I
All
didn't
that.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing with
Majors, Jonathan Majors.
Majors, yeah. Like, but
Thomas.
also like you look at him in Creed, what was it, 3?
Yeah,
See,
whichever was it,
yeah.
the last one was 3. Yep,
Yeah.
he looked
Like crazy
unreal.
buff. Right. So yeah, tell me he wasn't on something.
Had to be.
Like, had to.
And I mean, I appreciate the appreciation of my people and our genetics, but they are not that great. There's no not
Yeah.
like that. Not like it's the definition for me when guys have like large muscles and you can see every single contraction
Every
while they
crease
move,
and every
crease. It's like no, humans don't do that. Humans didn't start doing that until like the 70s, man. We didn't do that the whole
Right.
rest of the time back. Unless you were smaller, some people had that. But like you're talking like this guy,
Yeah, and steroid use was rampant in the 70s.
yeah.
You look at Pumping Iron, the original Pumping Iron, and like they even reference it like it's just part of that sport now,
Yeah. And
even at that time.
it's gotten so much crazier since then. I think they're starting to because a few guys died and like, okay, we can't. We're
Yeah,
past
I
the
mean,
point of
well,
no
and you look
return.
at like guys like Lee Haney who
Mhm.
retired after beating Schwarzenegger's record of
Yep.
Mr. Olympia's and number in a row or whatever. Like the dude can't bend over. He can barely
not-
walk.
No. It's actually two. Lee Haney is cool. He's in good shape. It's Ronnie Coleman you're thinking of.
Oh,
Ronnie
okay.
Coleman, and that kind of goes back in Lee Haney's day. He came kind of right after Arnold. They didn't use as much stuff back then. They started to up, but they didn't use as much stuff as in Ronnie Coleman's era, like the 2000s. And he looked, if you look at his old pictures, he was like massive, like 300 pounds all muscle. But like you
Yeah.
said, he can't walk. He can barely move.
Yeah.
And it's
he's
like-
fucked up.
He's from, I think, Texas too.
Yeah.
Mm.
And actually, he just sold his house.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So he's in a fucked up place because of all this shit. With him, it wasn't
Yeah.
what it was is when you take steroids, and I don't know how we became a fitness channel in the last few minutes, but when you take steroids and you start lifting weights, you will lift more weights than your body is supposed to. And
Mhm.
then you're like, because it's not only, but primarily steroids help muscular growth, but you still have tendons, you still have bones, you still have
Right, you
joints.
got joints, all that shit. Yeah.
And you had a liver king with the raw liver. But Ronnie Coleman, he got so big because he would go so hard in the gym. He was lifting like a power lifter, but for reps. And that was all cool in these old videos. He was a huge influence of like I would say this modern era of fitness channels, because you would see his crazy workouts and like, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
but it came at a cost. You know, it came at his back and his ability to walk and all this other shit. It's like, man,
Yeah.
don't overdo it.
Well, yeah, I knew a guy in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I went to high school with his brother, who was a year ahead of me. He was a couple years ahead of that, and he had just graduated. And he was a power lifter, not a bodybuilder, but a straight up power lifter. And he ended up getting hurt during a meet lifting weight, trying to hit a max, and screwed his knees and his legs up bad, like really bad. He got into the doctor. The doctor said, pardon me, had a burp come out there. The doctor said, look, you've got two choices. You can stop the steroids cold turkey and live, or you can continue down this path and your parents will bury you before they die. And he said sooner rather than later. So he said, all right, fine, stop the steroids. And like the difference between him and his brother were night and day. I mean, they were just completely different individuals physically because of the steroid use. When he stopped, he ended up looking not much different than his brother, who was, about my height, 5'10"-ish, but like 180 pounds max.
Just deflated.
Yeah, he just down to nothing.
That's how it goes.
And he still had fucked up legs.
Yeah, because you can't just be fucking around with the body. And that's a kind of hidden thing when you talk about Hollywood. Like, that's been a past 10 years, steroids in Hollywood have to have just skyrocketed. It's like,
oh yeah,
some of these guys are not going to be cool, the long term of their life. We talked about The Rock. He's in his 50s, man. Is he going to be cool in a few years? Triple H, his longtime rival, 2 years ago had a heart attack or whatever it was. And that,
and all that in wrestling too. Jesus.
All that wrestling, a lot of those wrestlers. That's why so many wrestlers were dying with a combination of steroids, painkillers, plus constantly lifting weights, plus constantly working and doing jumping off through tables and shit. It was just a combination. Then you add recreational drugs, you add cocaine, and all that other shit. It's just like, your heart's gonna blow up, man.
Didn't that? I mean, that affected Jake the Snake too.
Affected a lot of people.
Yeah,
Jake the Snake he was basically a crackhead, Jake the Snake. Just straight up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he got right. Shout out to Diamond Dallas Page. They did a documentary.
DDP Yoga.
DDP, yep. He was, because DDP basically, because they had a character toward the end of his WWE run where he was like this positive motivational speaker, and ironically enough, he kind of really became that, like where he was helped out Scott Hall before he died, helped him kind of get clean, and a lot of these broken down wrestlers.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yep, and I saw that documentary on Jake the Snake. That was actually pretty good.
The one on Jake the Snake's real good. It's real good. So yeah.
The thing that surprises me is,
and he also helped out Kane.
Yeah,
that runs with the Undertaker.
Yeah, I didn't know Kane.
He ended up doing DDP yoga and lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I tried that DDP yoga. I didn't like it, but
it
helped a lot of people. Helped a lot of people. I just couldn't do. I tried yoga a few times. It's just not for me, man. I think it's just I don't have enough. I'm about to say soy. The answer is actually flexibility. I don't have enough flexibility to do it. I just don't. I know you can build it. I'm trying to do stretches, but it's just ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I'm just surprised Ric Flair is still going.
That's a Keith Richards situation. It's like it was so much done that it was like he took so much, it kept him going. He's still going off of. He's had a bunch of health scares throughout his life.
Oh, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I mean, you want to talk about cocaine's the hell of a drug, man. You watch his old promos, and they're great. But it's like
all you gotta do is look at the eyes.
His eyes, he's red. Sometimes he'll do the little sniff thing real quick and just woo, and just keep it moving. Even woo sounds like something you would do right after you sniff cocaine. Like,
right? I was gonna say that. Like, I wonder what the cocaine parties were like with him.
Probably
every
crazy.
every 30 seconds. Woo! Like, all right, dude,
like
you need to
just
back
imagine
off.
just imagine like with him, Sting, the Road Warriors.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, you know, they
Oh.
all used to do it. They all used to fuck around and get down together, man.
Yeah.
Oh
Those
man, old school
crazy
WCW.
Yeah. I've heard some of those stories about some of the stuff, at least some of the stuff they can remember.
Right.
Right.
But yeah,
Well, yeah, they were all
crazy time.
partiers. I can remember when they'd come into town, and this is WWF days,
Yeah.
where they'd come into town, they'd have a show downtown, but a lot of them were staying at the hotel that was across from the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and that had a nightclub in it, and guaranteed if they were in town, you go to that nightclub either the night of or the next night, and they were all in the bar, every one of them, all partying up.
Yeah, they got into trouble. That was an infamous Shawn Michaels story. Was it him, British Bulldog, and the fucking 1, 2, 3 Kid, which I think he might even supposed to have had a feud with one of them, but they took some fucking I can't remember what brand. He may be a Navy or Army, but the girl was feeling Shawn. And her boyfriend was not feeling that. And these Navy guys jumped him. And the motherfucking 1, 2, 3 Kid and British Bulldog are too fucked up to even help.
To even back him up.
They're just totally just space cadets. And they're like, yo, stop. It's just like he's getting fucked up. It's like we got yeah, he got fucked up.
Man, you're not supposed to do that.
So yeah, it's crazy. This conversations went everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
All
It
good.
definitely did.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
man.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna bug out myself. I've
No,
got
it's all good. I think it's
2.5 hours to work.
no. Actually, I think it's a good time for us to get up out of here. I had a great time though, man.
Yeah, same here.
Definitely.
So, tell you what, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. But we had a good time. I know Baron already took off. Guess he had other, obligations. I understand. I'll tell you what, New Bomb, you got anything you want to plug?
Nothing specific, unless somebody comes over, then I'll plug her.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's some good shit. What about you, Vid?
I'm doing Sunday night games on the new channel. So that's Vigilante Wins and Vengeance. I think I don't think people see in the chat right now are Central Dildo and Zach, who I know have the link. For everybody else, since I am a mod, let me actually go ahead and put the link in.
Yeah.
So you can check me out.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Fuck. Yeah.
Not a bad run, guys. I think this link
Oh
worked.
man, thank you, old man.
Hey, old man, appreciate it. Nope, it did not work. So don't use that link. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, don't use this one.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Oh, I got a 404 not found. What am I doing with my life? Do I need this ad? Oh, you do need. Okay, so here we go. First, let's delete this. Okay, now check me out. Now you can use that link if you're not already subbed to the new channel, because the old channel is pretty much inactive at this point. Sub to the new channel. We don't talk as much entertainment. We talk about a lot of other stuff, especially on stream. We talk about whatever. Like I said, I've been covering sports, and I got to get a video out about Malika Andrews in the draft and this weird double standard where we're fresh off this Ja Morant story. You know what? Just the video will be out in like an hour, so you can watch the video. I'm not gonna plug it too much. So I got a video coming out in about an hour if I can get it done quick enough, and then I'm streaming later. So please sub to that channel if you haven't. I appreciate it.
Hey, Vid, you'd be surprised before you go. You know, YouTube just changed their monetization.
Yeah, I seen that.
I heard that they were doing it. Did they lower the standard? If I'm correct.
Yeah, and yeah. So basically, depending on even your old channel, depending on what that's done,
Mhm.
yeah, you might already qualify for some things, man. You might want to look at.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised. You know, like I know you ain't thinking about it like that, but out of all the work that you put into it, the subs that you have already, depending on what kind of watch time you have, you might already had hit some, hit a level with it to where it's like, damn, you up for something on the old channel. Just
so here's my question. I saw it. It wasn't supposed to be 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours.
Well, that's one of them, and there's a couple of others. They had through like 4 or 5 different things in there. Like once you hit that $ monetization thing, it'll spell it all out for you, and you'll get to see all the shit that you've qualified for.
Yeah, it still shows the old standard though. It doesn't show any update. That's why I'm like, okay, is this gonna?
No, actually, mine shows the update.
Well, why the fuck they don't like me? Like, why doesn't mine show the update?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at it online, I mean, on the computer, or on your phone.
I'm looking at it right now as we're talking because I just said, let me just do this right now since I'm here.
Right.
And it still shows my old channel has 734 subs and 1,500 watch hours. And it doesn't say the new update of 500 or any level to it. It just says, you can't get to it, so you're just fucked. I'll share it.
Dang.
Fuck that. I think it's any sensitive information. It's not like it has my bank account or anything. But hold on. This is exactly what I'm seeing. And unless I'm missing something. All right. Okay. So you can see this. See how it says I have 734 1,000 or this many watch hours. Like, granted, this channel hasn't been active, but I could probably get the watch hours up if I streamed on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it doesn't show any difference with the standard. It still shows I need 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. Is this what it shows with you?
Nah, mine shows differently.
You talking about this earn, right? This is the tab, right?
Yeah.
So they just fucking me.
No, unless I don't know, unless your shit hasn't had any kind of update, but it's supposed to show you it's supposed to show you more than that.
See, I had saw some creators show a screenshot of what it was showing with him, but it hasn't shown that with me yet, and I don't know why. And so I just said, okay, maybe it's just he got an early update, but apparently everyone has that update and I don't. So I'm fucked. And I don't know why. It's just because. So I don't know.
idea.
Shit, when was the last time you put a video on the channel?
On this one,
Yeah.
it's been like probably a couple months.
Yeah, because the thing is, you're supposed to have at least 3 videos in the last like 90 days or some shit.
Well, I probably have 3 videos in the last 90 days.
I mean, on your old channel?
Yeah. In the last 90, I probably have them. Because I did do one stream. I can even go into the content. Oh no, my last video was April. That's still 2 months.
Right.
And then my last live was April. That's 2 months. I don't think I have 3. That's actually only 2. So maybe doing that.
There's different.
Here's the thing, though. Even if I go on my current channel, it doesn't show me those standards. It still shows the same thing.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Let me just check. Let me not lie to you. Let me check it now on a different tab. So let's see what it says on the current. Yep, same thing.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Same.
Wow.
What the fuck? Why am I getting picked on like this? And I got 50 videos last 90 days on this channel. See, this shit makes me mad as fuck. Like, what the fuck do I got to do?
Yeah, I haven't even looked at mine. It's granted, it's been forever since I put a video up, so.
Yeah, I got all kind of shit that shows up on mine. So me and Loki were looking at it the other day. So yeah, I'm surprised. You know, I don't know. I know mine says a lot of different things than that.
Yeah, mine's just that. But when I'm looking at YouTube's thing. Maybe I'm in the alternate universe of everybody else, and I'm just, my universe is just what it shows. Because when I go there, the support is still saying 1,000 subs, 4,000 watch hours, or 10 million short views, which is the standard I've seen for a minute.
Right. That's the old, yes.
And I don't see any update to YouTube standards, and I don't know why it's not. And I'm not sure. I'm not sharing still, am I?
No, you're not. No. Zach says, I've heard it's a slow rollout of the new monetization.
Maybe that's it. So maybe that's it. Okay. Yeah, it's no big deal.
But I seen all kind of shit on mine. So I don't know why mine is different than yours when I hit that $.
Okay. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, and then Low Spec, what's up, Low Spec? He says, "Oh wow, I just looked at mine, just missing lots of watch hours now. It's probably because your shit reset it like it
resets every year.
Yeah, every year. So basically, when you're trying to build up to your 4,000 watch hours, they only give you a year to do it, and if you don't do it within that year's time, and that goes from the time that you started your channel all the way to the next year, from that point. And if you haven't, got the 4,000 watch hours, then your shit will reset every year.
Yeah.
And I just found that out a year ago when Vigilante and other folks told me about it. So, yeah. So I even found out the hard way. I thought it was like an accumulation of 4,000 hours over the period of you. I
think at one point it was, and then they tightened it up to that, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong.
Right, that's what I thought. I thought it was like, damn, that you're accumulating 4,000 hours over the time period that you're on YouTube, and then from there, once you get it, you go forward. Hell no, I found out the wrong.
Yeah, I've hit 4,000 a couple times with my old channel, but wasn't enough. I didn't have enough subs. That was the whole thing, and ironically, I've gotten at least 100 subs the past couple months on the new channel. When I say 100, that's not including everyone. I had, a lot of people who have already came from one channel to another, and I appreciate it. But these are new subs, brand new people who had never heard of Vigilante Williamson before, just liked the video and subbed. And I'm like, okay, this is growing. But I when I saw that, I'm waiting for the new standard. Yeah, enjoy your white privilege, Spec. I don't know what's going on. You too, 24. They must not look. And so they just said, oh, you know what? They just assumed since you was a comic book fan, like he must be white. No, I'm just joking. But I don't know what's going on. Why YouTube is not showing me the right thing? It's like I feel like I do feel oppressed. YouTube, update my stuff so I can make it to this partner program. I feel like I can get to that by the end of the year. I can get to 500 subs on this new channel.
Yeah, 500 subs and 3,000.
And or I could try to get the watch hours. Now, the one thing I think the old channel still has a strike because that was why I left it.
Oh yeah, and actually they say you can't have none of that shit, man. So.
And that's what I said, man, because they took an old video. I took a video that was 2 years old, and no more MAGA. No, please don't talk about the Orange Man. But I took a video that was 2 years old and gave me a community strike on it, and it's like, man, y'all gonna do this? Y'all can do this all day and just find old videos where I said something and then a couple other people. I don't know who AJ is, but apparently they don't have the new. You're blacks. What are you talking about? But unless you're just saying blacks at the end of your sentences, like what's the they like sparkle or some sprinkle. Some random person on the internet says that after every sentence. But yeah, okay. I think this the stream is probably supposed to end like 20 minutes ago, and I start ranting about this. So I'm done. I'm done. We'll see what happens. I just gotta keep chugging away and go from there.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, y'all. Well, I had a great time, so I appreciate everybody, hanging in there with us and kicking it with us all the way to the end. I had a great time. It was great seeing everybody in the chat. Sax, Sentient, Low Specs, Old Man. Appreciate you being here. Let me see. My shit won't ZVR. My shit won't even go back any further. So I tell you what, I know I'm missing a hell of a lot of people. I apologize about that. But I just wanted to tell y'all, thank y'all for being here. We had a great time. We look forward to hopefully seeing you all next weekend. And again, it's Baron Norman Tag, New Bomb Turk, Vigilante Williamson. I'm your boy 24/7 with the Primetime Kings. And we are out. Peace, y'all. Take it easy.
Peace.
All right.